Okay, it says I'm live. Okay, so we'll see. Jemima, talk to you in a few when I'm done. All right, y'all. Okay, it's back live. Let's see. Somebody check it for me. Mark, you check it. See if I'm choppy. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Testing, testing. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Am I still freezing on YouTube? I know Facebook is good. Am I still freezing on YouTube? Kendrick, I'm good. All right, cool. All right. Everybody else, y'all got a good connection? All right. Okay. I'm going to just start over. Elijah, Tabitha, greetings, greetings. Okay. Tigba, hey girl, hey bless her, girl. Okay. Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully that solves it. Hopefully I don't start freezing up again. All right, y'all. So we just gonna start back over because I was only at the end of verse 2. No, I'm sorry. No, was it? Verse 3. Okay, let me just start over. Chapter 8, page 48. If you got the electronic version, chapter 8 is chapter VIII. In the second year of Yeshua, God, that is Ashon, caused to be established in his heaven all requisite places of learning and industry, whereby and wherein Ezians might be educated to good works and to a general knowledge of Jehovah's kingdoms universe, and there volunteered a sufficient number of Ethereans as teachers and practicers of work for all that was required. Good, okay. Shamia, hey girl, hey. Peace and light, peace and blessings, family. God said, now that the earth and heaven are purified from evil, my lords shall deliver the Ezians to the Asaphs and enjoin them to deliver in Yeshua, which I have established a short distance from the earth as a barrier against their returning to mortals. Jehovah saith, suffer not the blind to lead the blind. Talking about those newborn spirits, right? They're considered blind. Those people that just died, well, for the most part, most of them don't know any more than what they did before they lost their body, before they gave their body back, right? So the blind leading the blind is not going to work for Creator's heavens, right? And it was so. At the time mortals died, their spirits were taken by the Asaphs to Yeshua, meaning the place of rest and relaxation away from the earth, so they don't engraft themselves on mortals. And it was so, at the time mortals died, their spirits were taken by the Asaphs to Yeshua. And to make this an acceptable labor to the Ezians, God said, tell my lords of the earth to teach mortals by inspiration and otherwise of my kingdom, Yeshua. And so it came to pass through the lords and the Ashars, that is, the guardian spirits with mortals, that the name Yeshua was established on the earth. God said, in the time of Cosmon, men shall say, whence came the name of heavenly things? God said, in the time of Cosmon, men shall say, whence came the name of heavenly things? But Yeshua shall lie hid away, and Jehovah will in that day stretch forth his hand and disclose all. But mortals were thick in tongue and could not say Yeshua, and they said, Iesu. Hence came the name of many men, Iesu, signifying without evil, which is the ultimate salvation of the soul. I put marks here last time, but also after Iesu is reference letter E, and it's spelled Iesu, right? Which we know over time was translated, and that's how we got the name Jesus, right? We ain't gonna start the argument about the J and the I and stuff, but that's how it originated. Okay, so E on page 51, it says the origin of Iesu or Jesu, Jesu, or Jesus, Jesus. See Book of Sapphire, chapter Samoan, verse 34, 1882 edition. Okay, so that begins. Let's go back there and look at that. But I'm also, after I read that, 521. After I read that, we're gonna go to the glossary so I can read you what it says in the glossary about Iesu. What page is this? 521. That's what I thought. 521, verse 34, which is found on page 523. It's the first chapter, which is called Samoan. And 22, 33, 34. I could have just looked over and saw that. Okay, also on the chart, the icon, because remember this chapter, it has 121 verses, and it correlates to the chart on page 522, and it's 121 symbols in this plate 63 Samoan right here. So this right here, number 34. Remember, when you count and you start at the left and go across to the right, it's 11 symbols on each line. So 11, 22, 33, then come over here, start. This is 34 right here. And that's the symbol, the sign of the cross, right? Also the sign of Iesu. We still see that today. It's everywhere. Okay, and verse 34 on page 523 says, Isu, I apostrophe S-U, panic. Iesu, I-E space S-U. Iesu is a young child that has not sinned, the true cross within Eloah. Iesu, I apostrophe E apostrophe S-U, Aham, A-H-A-M. Child prophet, Aham. Yilu, Ki. Oh, so remember, it's giving you the word for this particular language. So Iesu, okay, so Isu, ISU is panic. Remember, that's the first earth language, panic, which comes from Pan, right? Panic, the panic language. Then you have Iesu, which is Aham. And then you have child prophet, which is Aham. Yelu, Y-E apostrophe L-O is key, the key language. My Isu shall have no flesh desires. His love knoweth all men and women alike. Gisugan is chine. Iesu, one who was born sexless. Right? Okay. So that's the end of verse 34. But go to the glossary for this. Oh, I flipped right to it. Page 778. Okay, so page 778. Shebrew Shalom says animalistic nature, peace. Listen, page 778, Iesu, and it has Yeshua after Iesu. It says a sexless person, one born without the possibility of sexual passion. Also, one who has attained that state of mind to be one with all light, such as Brahma, improperly called Isus, I-E-S-U-S. The name Jesus was derived from this term. The Hebraic word Iu, I-E-U-E, was made from Iesu, I-E-S-U, one who can hear the voice of the Great Spirit. Iu has been improperly confounded with Jehovah, meaning they're not the same thing, right? So you can be born an Iesu, and you can also be made and developed into an Iesu. When it gave an example, it says such as Brahma. And we read, where was Brahma at? Which book? I know it was in here. I forget. Don't have me guessing. But when we get to the story of Brahma, it literally goes through his entire life. Remember, the original Brahma, the real dude Brahma, was somebody who was walking with Creator, right? A true man, and he was truly righteous. Not what, when you say Brahma today, people think idol worship. That's not what we're talking about, because in the course of time, everything got chopped and screwed about who the real man really was, and he was never worshipped, and he'd tell you never to worship him, right? Just like it is with some of these other great names that have been turned into idols. But anyway, Brahma, as he developed over his life, and his spiritual gifts developed, and he got better and better, he just kind of developed into, I'll just call it angel status. He developed his body, he developed into angel status before he actually took his last breath, right? So thereby, when he died, I believe it was 3 days after he died, where he actually he was able to Sargus himself. Was it Sargus or Suis? I be getting them mixed up. Hold on, I think it's Sargus. Hold on. He was able to Sargus himself, or manifest a physical body, and talk with his family and friends to let them know. Hold on, Sargus. Yes, Sargus. Suis is being able to prophesy judgment, sin. Okay, Sargus is being able to manifest. Sargus in many places spirits took on and walked amongst mortals. Yeah. So he just came and verified that those things in the afterlife, so to speak, or when you die, what we call death here, you're truly born. And he talked with them at length after that happened. So that's what that is. He actually, I forgot how old he was, but I remember his son Hog, after I think it was 18 years. Was it 18 years? 18 years after his son turned what, 20, 21, something like that, because he was, the Creator was talking to him. But as he grew older, he began to hear the voice of Creator a little, not less, but he did hear him less. But while he was hearing him less, it was time for him to develop. But at every point when he started almost to give up hope, where his wife lost hope a little bit, that's how Hawk was born in the state he was, not understanding what faith is, why his siblings were completely spiritual. I absolutely love that story. But I believe it was, I want to say it's like 20th something birthday. Don't quote me on the numbers, but it was like 18 years after that point to where Brahma actually began to walk in a state of Iesu, right? And that's a pretty cool process to see. So before I leave here, I'm like, yeah, I want to attain to that. And it's not just limited to men or women, although we hear most of the stories about the men, but it can happen to women as well, right? Okay, so let's go back. Page 48, y'all. Chapter 8 in the book of Ashong. And we stopped at the end of verse 5. I'll reread 5. No, let me go to 4. And so it came to pass through the lords and the Ashars, that is, the guardian spirits with mortals. That's what Ashars are. They are guardian angels. And so it came to pass through the lords and the Ashars, that is, the guardian spirits with mortals, that the name Yeshua was established on the earth. God said, in the time of Cosmon, men shall say, whence came the name of heavenly things? But Yeshua shall lie hid away, and Jehovah will in that day stretch forth his hand and disclose all. But mortals were thick of tongue and could not say Yeshua, and they said Iesu. Hence came the name of many men, Iesu, signifying without evil, which is the ultimate salvation of the soul. Jehovah spake through God, saying, the time of the end of dawn cometh, and my emancipated sons and daughters shall return to their places, taking the resurrected with them, but that the earth and the lower heaven may not be left in darkness. Provide ye a God and lords and marshals and messengers and all other officers to rule and teach in my name. From the born of the earth ye shall make them, and they shall hold office for 200 years and 400 years and 600 years, according to the atmospheric cycles. So this lets you know how long each individual God will rule under that cycle. They either going to rule and reign for 200 years. Then we're going to have a shift change, have a new God and new lords and his whole cabinet come on. They're going to reign for 400 years, not in any particular order, but just depending on what's happening during your reign and how well you rule and how fast or slow you raise them up will determine how long you get to rule, right? And I think we're seeing like a little bit of both, you know. And I think if your kingdom is getting away from you and they send you help, I think your rule, I think I seen, I don't remember exactly where, but I think I seen it in both places. I remember one where the rule was cut short, but then I remember another where it says, give them a little bit more time, pretty much summing it up, give them a little bit more time to get things under control. And the rule was lengthened for a little bit. So they get 200, 400, 600, and so on, right? From the born of the earth, ye shall make them. So the gods and the lords were one time of the earth. They were walking here. From the born of the earth shall ye make them, and they shall hold office for 200 years, and 400 years, and 600 years, according to the atmospherian cycles. Suffer not my Etherean host to remain longer than dawn, either on the earth or within atmosphere. For I shall take the earth into dark regions in order to build it up to a higher state for the time that cometh after. The voice departed. God said, let the voice of the council deliberate on this matter and speak before the Father. For I will provide also a heaven in the ancient place of Horeb, and it shall be called Bizpah, for it shall be a place of reception for the spirits of the dead, preparatory to their being brought to Yeshua. What's trying to get for? Hold on, y'all. You get 30 seconds. Actually, not that, not 30 seconds. It's been 20. Listen, this Carmack sing lips, girl. Hold on, y'all. You take this. All right, y'all, hold on. DC, shalom, shalom, hanging out in the background. Auntie Grand Rising, everybody else hanging out in the background. Hold on. All right, there. If you want to take a place. All right, there you go. Don't pick it up. All right, y'all. I'm back. Verse 10, page 48. In course of time, there were raised up many of the earthborn, and God selected them and appointed them to fill the places, and he founded Bizpah and officered it according to the command of Jehovah. After God established rites and ceremonies and processions and dances with sacred words in Yeshua, he commanded his lords to give the same things to mortals, and they so fulfilled all that was designed from the beginning. In the 17th year of dawn, God commanded his council to select another god and host and officers, and the council proceeded after the manner of the ancients, selecting the most learned and the purest and holiest according to their rank and godliness, chose they them, and a record was made of these matters and deposited in the library of Yeshua. So it came to pass that God called in his own lords of the earth and set apart for the first day of the new moon as the day, as the day on which he would consecrate the God and lords, his successors, and he called the day Mas, M-A-S, the name of which endureth to this day of Cosmon. Furthermore, God established the moon's days, Mas. God established the moon's day, Mass, on the earth as a time of consecration, and this is the origin of the saying Mass. When the chosen were in place before the throne, God said, by command of Jehovah, are ye brought before me, his son? In his name will I consecrate ye to the places commanded of him. The marshals then conducted him that ranked highest up to the seat of the throne. God said, In the name of Jehovah and by his power, wisdom, and love, do I ordain thee, God of heaven and earth. He that receiveth from my hand receiveth from my Father who raised me up. The initiate said, all power cometh from the Father. All wisdom cometh from the Father. All love cometh from the Father. In his name and by virtue of his commandments through his Son, receive I all that is put upon me for his glory forever. God then said, give me a crown, O Father, for thy son. A scarlet light descended from above, and God reached forth his hands and wove it into a crown and placed it on the initiate's head, saying, God of heaven and earth, thee I crown. And now shalt thou receive also the sacred triangle, which is the heirloom of the gods of earth. And he hung it around his neck, adding, and since there can be but one God on earth or in this heaven, I herewith uncrown myself in Jehovah's name and salute thee, O God, God of earth and heaven. Ashong now stood to the right, and God, who was ordained, went and sat on the throne, and there descended red and blue lights from above, enveloping him completely, and he was quickened. He said, let the initiates for lords of the earth approach the throne of the Most High Jehovah. The five lords came forward. God said, join hands and receive ye from the Father. By virtue of the power, wisdom, and love of Jehovah vested in me, receive I thee as the highest chosen. And I proclaim thee Lord of the earth in Jehovah's name. Accept this crown from heaven above, the like of which cannot be woven from earthly things. By its power thou shalt remain in accord with Yeshua and the kingdoms above. So go back up towards the middle of verse 20, and it has after, and I proclaim thee Lord of the earth. After Lord is reference letter F. And F on page 51 says, where hands are joined, the persons are addressed as one person. 1882 edition. Okay, so go to the top of page 49, verse 21. God fashioned the crowns and then crowned them lords of the five divisions of the earth. God said, retire thou aside and choose thy messengers and officers, and after ordaining them, depart to the kingdom prepared for thee. The Lord said, in thy name, O Jehovah, do I accept that which thou hast put upon me. With all my wisdom and strength, with all my strength, with all my wisdom and strength and love will I serve thee, O my Father Jehovah. The Lords retired, and the Essenars sang more than 1,000,000 voices in concert. Yeah. All right, y'all. Chapter 9, or chapter IX. Now the time had come for the end of the first dawn of Dan after the creation of man. And this was known in the ethereal heavens, where lived countless millions of Jehovah's sons and daughters emancipated. And as might be expected, they determined to descend from all sides to witness the labors of Ashong and to receive his works as a profitable lesson for their own future on other new worlds. Consequently, there began to appear in the firmament far off stars approaching, and these were the Etherian ships in remote places where the name of Ashong had been known for thousands of years. From all sides they came, growing brighter and brighter, larger and larger. Ashong spoke to his companions, saying, make ready, O my beloved. My friends and your friends are coming. Put our ship in order, light the pillars of fire, and spread out the sails, shining that they may be glorified in Jehovah's name. The proper persons accomplish these things, and to the eastward of Yeshua, the Etherian ships of Ashong was anchored, and so great was the size thereof that there was room for the Etherians of Anachron and upward of 300 million of the redeemed of the earth besides. That's a lot. Verse 5, page 49. Ashong said, when our friends arrive, we shall join them and make an excursion round the earth, discovering its ranks and glorious promises. But as to the 900 million Druhas, which I sent off to Hudau and Gia, we shall pass thither on our way to Anachron. Brighter and brighter grew the descending stars, the Etherian ships from far off worlds, and larger till in majesty they neared Yeshua. Ashong then came down and sat at the foot of the throne according to the custom of gods. God came down and took him by the hand, saying, Son of Jehovah, that maketh thyself the least of men, arise and take thy host and embark in Jehovah's ship, going whithersoever thou wilt. Ashong rose up, the Essenars and trumpeters played and sang. Then Ashong said, One more love have I in the world, O Jehovah. I go from Yeshua, but my love remaineth. To thee, O God, will I look back in hope and love, for thou wert raised by me. And to thy gods, what less could I say? Yea, and to all the hosts I leave within these realms. Ashong touched God's right hand and then saluting with the third sign of Emeth to Jehovah, departed, and the marshals conducted him off to the ship. And after Emeth is reference letter G, and that is on page 51. And it's the last reference for this book. And G says, Emeth is a sign of faith in Jehovah. See Book of Safa, chapter Emethakava. And we just read Emethakava recently, right? Let me just give you the page number. Excuse me, just in case you were not here that day. It's an awesome chapter to read. But if we go there again, we're going to have to read the whole chapter. We ain't going to do that today. We recently just read it. I want to say almost like 2 weeks ago. Emethakava is found on page 554. All right, so 554, mark it. You can come back and read that today, 554. And you will see plate 87 on page 555. All right, y'all. Excuse me. I've been juicing. I feel the mucus and stuff breaking up on the inside of me. So I went through that whole bag of grapefruit the other day, and I've been getting oranges and everything. So I feel it just like, I'm like, yeah, y'all ain't gonna put me down. All right, y'all. Page 49. I reread verse 8. Ashong touched God's right hand, and then saluting with the third sign of Emeth to Jehovah, departed, and the marshals conducted him off to the ship. Ashong and his Etherian host rose up in curtains of light, and presently the ship was loosened from its anchorage and floated upward. And all the angels entered into it, and the sails were spread out, and the mantles suspended on every side, so the whole vessel, with its thousands of masts and arcs, looked like a world on fire. The inhabitants of Yeshua feared and trembled for the mighty works of the gods and goddesses, and yet as the Essenars on the departing ship chanted, more than 1,000,000 voices, the Yeshuans sang with them amidst their tears, with souls overflowing with awe and love and admiration. And in this time, the descending stars of other gods and goddesses, the Etherian ships from far off worlds, were drawing nearer and nearer, and on every side, the firmament was as if alive with worlds on fire. Presently they came, first one, then another of the Etherians, and they made fast to Ashong's ship until thus more than 500 were united into one mighty vessel, and yet so near to Yeshua that all could be seen. And when they had united there, and when they had united, there were countless millions of angels, thus in close proximity, many who had known one another for thousands of years, and some who were older than the earth and knew its history. And these had companions as old as themselves, and they were ripe in experience with corporal earths, stars, and suns, and other regions of Jehovah's kingdoms. So great was the wisdom of these gods and goddesses that to come within the earth's atmosphere was sufficient to enable them to read all the souls and prayers of mortals. Get that. Oh, we got such a long road to go. Half of us can predict what the weather gonna be like tomorrow. They come within proximity And they can read all the souls and thoughts of the men and women on the entire world. They just come in close proximity. That's wisdom. That's true development. That's true discernment. Oh, we strive to be as such. Listen, let me read this again. Boy. Hold on. On verse 12. We're on page 49, chapter 9, verse 12. And when they had united, there were countless millions of angels, thus in close proximity, many who had known one another for thousands of years, and some who were older than the earth and knew its history. And these had companions as old as themselves, and they were ripe in experience with corporal earths, stars, and suns, and other regions of Jehovah's kingdoms. So great was the wisdom of these gods and goddesses that to come within the earth's atmosphere was sufficient to enable them to read all the souls and prayers of mortals, and all the thoughts and desires of the spirits of the lower heaven belonging to the earth. To each and all of them, the voice of Jehovah was ever present, and their power was like unto their wisdom. Woo, sheesh. I love it. Verse 14. Jehovah hath said, to the corporean I have given power to hear one or two things at the same moment of time, but my gods can hear intelligently tens of thousands of men speaking at the same time. Yea, they can find a way to answer them also. Look, not just here. If we heard that, just let us go into a crowded room. It's like, oh my gosh, everybody quiet down. There's too much talking going on. I can't understand nobody. He said they can hear intelligently and then find a way to answer them all. Y'all remember the movie Bruce Almighty? When he started hearing all of them, he was like, oh, what am I hearing? He about to go crazy, right? And then he had to figure out a way. This is good. Y'all gotta watch that. The movie, I like it. Then he had to figure out a way to answer all the prayers because he became God for a day. Remember Morgan Freeman, he was actually God in that, right? And so Bruce Almighty got his turn to be God, and he had to figure out how to answer all the prayers. And his way to answer all the prayers, he decided to figure out a way to categorize the prayers and stuff. So it go through these little scenes and everything on how he trying to categorize. He was like, post-it notes. Then so when he decided to categorize all the prayers in the post-it notes, the whole room got filled with post-it notes. He was covered in post-it notes. Like, we need to figure out a better way. A filing system. So files appeared, and he was like, this is great. One filing system. He was like, oh, this gonna work. He went to open up the drawer. The next thing you know, this filing system drawer extended for like 47,000 miles with him holding on to it while shooting out of the cabinet, right? I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna work, buddy. So he was like, computer, yes, emails. And so ding, 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 all these emails and stuff going off. He was like, you know what? I'm just kind of summing it up. You know how he decided to answer all the prayers? Everybody that watched it, no. He decided to respond yes to all the prayer requests, right? And so next thing you know, he went to this party. A woman said, I prayed I lose 50 pounds on a no, she didn't say Krispy Kreme diet. I use Krispy Kreme because we got Krispy Kremes here, but some kind of sweet diet. I think it was donuts. She said, and all I've been eating is donuts, and I lost 50 pounds. And he looking, they talking about all their kind of crazy hopes and requests that have been answered. And he was just like, oh snap. He didn't say oh snap, but y'all get it. Y'all got to go watch it again. Mom, you know what? I think my plant, not only did she get a little cold, but she was thirsty. So you know what I did when you left yesterday? I took her out the pot and I brought it to the sink. And I just did a watering because I looked up how to care, the proper care for the peace lily. You would not believe what she looks like today. When I say she's so dramatic, she is super dramatic, right? She was all bent over like, I'm so thirsty. But she had just been watered, right? So I put it in the sink and I got my thing and I followed the directions and I let the soil just get nice and moist and run all the way through, and I let her drain. And I put her back in here When I tell you she's sitting up almost at the beauty she was in the store, and I glanced at her when I came down, but I didn't really catch her until I just looked at. She is literally sitting up, leaves is all out. Sis is dramatic. Plants will tell you what they need if you're trained to understand it, right? I knew that they don't like giraffes. My husband had put her in the window. We left the window up and it was cold. So we came down. It was like she lost all life and everything. I was like, oh my gosh. And clearly it probably dried with the wind blowing. It probably dried her dirt out too, you know. So yeah, you're right, Mom.
Walking through this house with a suit on, muscular as a mug.
Boy, get out of here. Yeah. Nobody care about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see the youngin. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know I look good. She got a beautiful child, don't she? Look at this.
I couldn't find that in your Apple Music library.
Thank you.
You can ask me to play a radio station or ask for your music on a different app.
It's not even touch screen.
They know.
Get out of here.
Hey,
do something with yourself.
Hey, don't forget.
Go hang out with your cousins. They texting this stuff coming through my phone at 6:30 in the morning.
This you supposed to beat the sun up. This is where people supposed to wake up naturally, not for work. I woke up at 4 feeling good. Oh,
going back upstairs, boy.
Good morning, beautiful people. How y'all been? Y'all so awesome. How y'all been? I forgot. I know I haven't popped in a little bit. Probably been like 2-3 days. But what's good? Y'all been feeling good? I know it.
Okay, goodbye. I'll tell you what they respond. They'll probably say, "Hey, Jemiah." Okay. Let me get back here. Yeah, so she is doing absolutely wonderful. Like, I'm amazed, like literally overnight. Oahspe College University, shalom. All right, y'all. Key, Grand Rising, sis. All right. Look. Okay, so go back. I started. Let me just go back to 12. Let me go back to 12. But Bruce, they got Bruce Almighty and Evan Almighty is the second one with I forgot the dude name. Something Correll. I forget his first name. But he played on The Office. All right, y'all. So back to verse 12, page 49. And when they had united, there were countless millions of angels, thus in close proximity, many who had known one another for thousands of years, and some who were older than the earth and knew its history. And these had companions as old as themselves, and they were ripe in experience with corporal earths, stars, and suns, and other regions of Jehovah's kingdoms. So great was the wisdom of these gods and goddesses that to come within the earth's atmosphere was sufficient to enable them to read all the souls and prayers of mortals and all the thoughts and desires of the spirits of the lower heaven belonging to the earth. To each and all of them, the voice of Jehovah was ever present, and their power was like unto their wisdom. Jehovah has said, to the corporean have I given power to hear one or two things at the same moment of time, but my gods can hear intelligently tens of thousands of men speaking at the same time. Yea, they can find a way to answer them also. Creator like, nah, what you got? He said, this how I train my family. What you got? Show me what you got. Okay, well, they can just get in close proximity and can hear the voices on the earth, under the earth, and above the earth intelligently. Like, what? Excuse me, how do we become a part of their team? Because that's pretty freaking cool. Look, okay. Yea, they can find a way to answer them also. When the ships were ready for departure, Asham said, let us pass low over Yeshua, and ye shall hear and see those I have founded in a new heaven. His companions said, Jehovah's will be done. Thereupon they proceeded, and after they had visited Yeshua, they descended to the earth and round about the places of the Lord's. And when they had seen all and heard the explanation from those with Asham of the state of the earth, of the state. Let me read the whole sentence again. We'll read the whole verse again, 15. When the ships were ready for departure, Asham said, let us pass low over Yeshua, and ye shall hear and see those I have founded in a new heaven. His companions said, Jehovah's will be done. Thereupon they proceeded, And after they had visited Yeshua, they descended to the earth and round about the places of the Lords. And when they had seen all and heard the explanation from those with a song of the state the earth was in, and of the heavens of the earth, they rose higher and higher and sailed toward Anacron, where the Ashon had invited them for a repast and social intercourse. Page 50. And this is the last chapter, y'all. It's 34 verse 1, verse 16. And when we done with this, we'll hop over to the field guide to the spirit world. Thus departed the Etherians from the earth and atmosphere. This then was the beginning of the cycles of Dan, and the first dawn was closed and past. And the earth gods, that is, the lords, who were now called Adonia, right? Or we say today Adonai. The earth lords. And the earth gods, that is, the lords, who were now called Adonia, were such as had been brought forth out of the earth. And God, who had dominion in the atmosphere of the earth, was also an earthborn. And so were all the angels in atmosphere, the product of the earth. So remember, at first, when we first started, the first portion of the cycle, he had to bring them from other worlds. They had come from other worlds, right? But that's until they get old enough and they populate enough to now those who can take the rank of God, Lord, God, Ashars, Asaph, they actually come from the earth, right? Yes, babe. Who's is this? Yeah, I should fill it up for him. How nice of you, sister. Hold on. And the earth gods, that is, the lords, who were now called Adonia, were such as had been brought forth out of the earth. And God, who had dominion in the atmosphere of the earth, was also an earthborn. And so were all the angels in atmosphere, the product of the earth. And in Jehovah's name were the lords and God appointed and crowned to rule in their respective places. And they thus became the instruments of Jehovah for his glory. Verse 19. Jehovah said, whoever serveth me in my name is my son or my daughter. The light of my judgment falleth upon them sufficient for the time and place. Inasmuch as ye honor them, ye honor me also. Through the flowers of the field, I express myself in color and perfume. Through the lion and mastodon, I express myself with power and voraciousness. Through the lamb and the dove, I express myself in meekness and docility. Through man, I express myself in words and actions. And all men, the wise and the ignorant, are channels of my expression. That's beautiful. Some have thick tongues and poor speech. Nevertheless, they are my babes, my sons and daughters. That is beautiful. Right? Jehovah said, after the Samoan age, I gave to the earth from my Etherian heavens sons and daughters, and they abode with mortals for 3,000 years, which is what, the first cycle? 3,000 years. Which I'm working on remembering the divisions of time while I'm developing, right? Like the 11-year cycles, and then 3 11-year cycles make 3 11-year cycles make a generation, which is 33. I'm working on all this in cosmogony and prophecy so I can look and see exactly. I'm sure once I read through what is it? The quickening. I'm sorry, time of the quickening.
Look, I'm sorry. My legs are tiring. Now have told me to do this again.
No, well, tell him you was being nice the first time. Josiah. Now he's trying to make you his slave. Hey, she was nice the first time. Don't keep sending her down here to refill your water bottle. What? Well, first of all, you should be grateful that she just offered to come do it for you. Now you telling her she ain't do it perfect enough? Boy. He's talking about something. She didn't fill it up all the way. She came, yeah, I heard her when she came to here, took his water bottle, filled it up with ice, and filled it up to here. She filled it all the way up with ice. Then she filled it up to here with water. And he get it, opens the top, talking about she ain't fill it up all the way. He want to fill it all the way up to here. Because that's what I tell you. What's wrong with these kids? He want it filled all the way up to here. I'm like, you come fill it up yourself. You bought it down here. Were you gonna fill it up the rest of the way for him?
My legs is tired.
But you walk down here. Now you gotta go back upstairs. You can go get. You ain't gotta do nothing else to it. They're like, here, Si. If you want some more, you come get it yourself. Cause I'm sure he feeling probably a little bit better than you. Take that. And go change this. Go ahead. Thank you. These kids, they ain't gonna be running my baby around here. I mean, they all my babies, but she woke up this morning. She had the temperature was trying to come back on her. You know, I gave her a little bit more motion. I put some Vicks Vapor Rub on her feet and on her chest. I was gonna put it under her armpits, but I figured it was too much. I gave her some ice water. It's just trying to break it real quick. I don't know. But the boy's feeling a little bit better. Yeah. All right, let's go back. Page 50, y'all. Let me reread 19 again. This is good. Yes, it's interesting. Whatever this is, viral that's going through. Because I talked to a couple people yesterday, and quite a few people are sick and stuff is running. A couple people I know had to go to the hospital, and they told me it was something viral that's really going around. You know, so and it's not all the vid. You know, but it's something viral. Okay, page 50. Page 50, verse 19. I know we just read. I'm going to reread again just because it was so beautiful. Jehovah said, whoever serveth me in my name is my son or my daughter. Remember, he said, whoever serveth me, right? Jehovah said, whoever serveth me in my name is my son or my daughter. The light of my judgment falleth upon them, sufficient for the time and place. Inasmuch as ye honor them, ye honor me also. Through the flowers of the field I express myself in color and perfume. Through the lion and mastodon I express myself with power and voraciousness. Through the lamb and dove I express myself in meekness and docility. Through man I express myself in words and actions. And all men, the wise and the ignorant, are channels of my expression. Some have thick tongues and poor speech. Nevertheless, they are my babes, my sons and daughters. Jehovah said, after the Samoan age, I gave to the earth from my Ethereal heavens sons and daughters, and they abode with mortals for 3,000 years. And my Ethereans established Lewis on the lands of the earth, and they commanded the Lewis, saying to them, your office is to lead mortals by inspiration to dwell together, man and woman, as husband and wife, and in such adaptation that their offspring shall rise higher in wisdom, love, and power than the father and mother. Yes, baby girl. If you want more, what are you doing? Now you're just being spiteful. She literally came down. She filled it up with ice and water. If you want more water, just add more water or more ice. What?
Okay, Mom.
What?
You filled it up with less. Okay.
You want more ice? Well, do it how you like it. She was offering to be kind to, but if you didn't like the way she did it, you just do it how you like it. Go ahead. Go ahead. They all getting ice. Go ahead. Go ahead. Do it how you gonna do it, Si. I ain't gonna argue with you. You gonna stand in the corner and complain? You wanna pour it out? Pour it out. But you ain't gonna stand there and pout in the corner. Go change this. All right, y'all. Let's go back. No, go take this off and put on a clean one. You spilled something on that. Go.
That's something.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Verse 20. Jehovah said, after the Samoan age, I gave to the earth from my Ethereal heavens sons and daughters, and they abode with mortals for 3,000 years. And my Ethereans established Lewis. Remember, Lewis are also called masters of generations, right? My Ethereans established Lewis on the lands of the earth, and they commanded the Lewis, saying to them, your office is to lead mortals by inspiration to dwell together, man and woman, and as husband and wife, and in such adaptation that their offspring shall rise higher in wisdom, love, and power than the father and mother. So each generation should get better. I shook my head like 47 times. I said yes, and you looked at me. Jehovah said, I will confound the wise man in the latter days, for he shall not discover why man and woman live not indiscriminately as the beast. Yea, I will show him that they who profess me are led by me, that they who deny me go down to indiscriminate communion. Out of my works shall the lessons of the early days of the earth show the presence of my hand from the beginning. By my Lewis was man and woman inspired to raise up such sons and daughters as would glorify me and my works. By my Lewis have I maintained my foothold amongst mortals. That's good. That's good. That's so good. Verse 22. Such as could comprehend me, having faith that my presence in person should ultimately triumph for the highest and best, I command it to be called Faithist. Since the beginning, have I kept a thread of this line inhabiting the earth and her heavens. And that's what we are, right? Call them different things in different countries, places, right? Israel. At the end of the cycle, there were in atmosphere 6,000 million angels who were for the most part in darkness, not knowing who they were or where they dwelt, nor knowing nor caring whether there were other heavens or not. And now began wars in atmosphere, thousands of angels against thousands and millions. And now wars began in atmosphere, thousands of angels against thousands and millions against millions for the possession of the sections of the earth, and mortal inhabitants thereof went forth these million of warring angels. And it came to pass that mortals also fell to war, and by the obsessing angels were made to destroy their own cities and kingdoms. We almost done, y'all. 1 verse 26. Go ahead. Verse 26. And the attractions of this great wickedness caused other angels of heaven to desert their schools and factories and descend down to mortals. You don't want any ice water now. What's the problem, Josiah? Do you want me to fill it up? What? You want to fill it to the top with ice? Yay, nay. What's the problem?
Every time you go in the kitchen, you stop everything.
Well, I wasn't stopping to focus on you. I stopped because you was about to scoop the ice, and it's loud. I'll scoop the ice for you to the top. But it's good that you pay attention. I'll stop when everybody comes to scoop ice. Shayla, hey girl, hey cousin. Okay. Page 51, verse 26. And the attractions of this great wickedness caused other angels of heaven to desert their schools and factories and descend down to mortals. Thus again were the kingdoms of God and his lords set at naught. The harvest of brides and bridegrooms had long since ceased to be. So it's been a minute since they had a graduation, right? Where people from the earth, where people who have passed from the earth and have progressed through the levels of heaven have risen high enough to graduate out of the earth and her heavens into ethereal, right? Because you have to be at least, well, shoot, going as a bride and bridegroom, you don't want to just be at 50. Like, you just did the bare minimum, didn't you? Is you gonna be a problem for us when you get up here? Like, we're gonna need you to retake a couple things. You need to spend a little bit more time, right? But you don't want to just be getting in like, oh, I just made it. Like, you just did what would, like, the minimal required to be at 50, right? Because 50 is half serving self, half serving others, right? So you get that if you just kind of like even kill. But if you go over and above, thinking about others more than yourself, then your grade gets higher. And that's in correlation to everything. And the grades go from 0 to, I mean, if you fall below 0, that's imbecile status. Like, that's imbecile status. And that's not me making a joke, but I am making a joke, but it actually called it imbecile in here. But remember, so while we're on earth, we can get graded up to a 99, right? But that's just here on earth. But we can also be graded like individually and as a city. So if it's like a couple of us within, okay, let's use my house. So say I can, in my house, like, it's the scale, it just goes from 0 to 99. But depending on where you're at and how and what group you're in, you'll be graded according to the group. And then you can be graded according to the city. So say maybe your individual grade could be 75, but you living within your city's grade is a 25. So your individual grade doesn't matter because you're not really doing enough to help bring the grade of your city up, right? So what if you 75? The city you live in is close to imbecile status. What are you doing there? You should help, talk, do something, right? So it's not that, okay, I can be level 99 or above 50, and when I die here, I can be shipped off into ethereal. Absolutely not. That ain't how that works. You just change. You have to still progress through the levels, and each level you get, it's like the grading kind of like starts over. So when you leave Earth, the grades start. You will have a certain grade leaving out of here, which will place you in either the first heaven, the second heaven, the first heaven or the second heaven. I'm not quite sure if you can jump to the third heaven. I'm not really sure, but I definitely know you can pass by the first heaven because that's where all what we call the demonic activity hangs out, right? So you definitely can bypass that level and go to second, right? I know when it's time for you to go, the angels or your ashars that come get you, they either come from second or third heaven, right? But yeah, so in order to graduate as a bride or a bridegroom, you have to have passed through all the levels, earth and the heavens, and you have to have spent time like in a second learning all these things. Because remember the different jobs and stuff you got to go through, or the different rankings, you got to kind of go through it and spend time in just about all of them. I believe I don't think you have to go in all of them, but I'm thinking for there are a majority of them that you have to, because as you become God, like, you have to really have personal knowledge of all the rankings, departments, and different things, which is why you're required to go through all of them, because who can better teach or who can better rule than somebody who's actually been there and been down on that level, right? So that's the thread that I see going through here. Okay. Verse 27, thus again were the kingdoms of God and his lords set at naught. The harvest of brides and bridegrooms had long since ceased to be. The first harvest was 200 years. The number of brides and bridegrooms was 600 million of grade 92. The second harvest was 200 years and was 800 million angels of grade 89. The third harvest was 600 years and was 2,000 million angels of grade 83. So, as a collective whole, they were grade 83, right? The fourth harvest was 500 years and was 2,300 million angels of grade 74. The fifth harvest was 300 years and was 600 million angels of grade 62. You see how they just decreasing in the grade? Look like they getting, I ain't gonna say dumber and dumber, but spiritually they're losing stuff, or something is not being passed along. The fifth harvest was 300 years and was 600 million angels of grade 62. The sixth harvest was 400 years and 900 million angels of grade 51. And this was the last harvest, for none were sufficient grade to abide in the Etherian heavens. End of Book of Ashong, son of Jehovah, right? So you have to be above 50, because you're going to be completely lost if they allow you into ether. That's like letting somebody into college prematurely. We need to test you, right? That's why they got the tests and stuff. Are you ready to be here? And even those that graduate from high school, a lot of colleges will require you to take the SAT, the ACT, and they some of them they don't require that, like technical colleges or trade schools may not require that, but they do require that you have some kind of comprehension with math and science or whatever. So they have their own assessment tests that they do, and they will assess you according to where you're at now, and they say, okay, well, we can go ahead and let you in. If you don't quite meet the standard of the grade, they should have it in place, or most of them do. They'll actually have classes that you can take there for the college you're trying to get into. But before you go here, we require you to take, they don't call them remedial, but maybe you need English or maybe you need a math. So we have this here. You have to take these before you can actually get into the trade program, right? So they require that. So it's no different. You can't come yet. We need you to take this and this. So you need to spend a little bit more time here. Now, you ain't going to be reincarnated. You just going to be where you at for a little while in that particular heaven, while you get a little bit more experience and you understand some things that you don't quite understand at the time, right? All right. So this was a good book. So tomorrow we start, and we'll probably just spend one day here. We'll probably read all this tomorrow. The second book of Lords, which is 2 chapters. The first chapter is 21 verses, and the second one is 17. All right, y'all. So we'll pause here and put my page number to 51. All right, y'all. So let's hop on over here to the field guide to the spirit world. And you know what? A couple people. Let me write this down, Key. You said Endless. I got a whole bunch of movies I need to watch, y'all. Key said, so the movie called Endless is a good life after death movie. Talks about how some of the dead miss the first plane, which was remaining on the earth, and it shows how some got stuck being a ghost. Ooh, stuck being a ghost on the earth. I'm gonna have to see that. Where is it? It's on Netflix, Amazon. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna watch that. I'll probably watch that one today. Sometime I will triage my movies and what I need to look at. Anything dealing with out of body experiences, astral projecting, cinema, okay. Whatever. I kind of move it up, because it's like the more pressing things where I'm trying to bring some further clarification of some stuff and what's happening. All right. Also, a couple people asked me about the Holy Megillah. Right now, I checked the video that I did when I had first mentioned. I did a couple videos, but some people, they're trying to get it and it's no longer available. What? So at least I'm gonna try and call back again, see if I get an answer. I'll probably leave another message just to see if they respond. But the website is down. I didn't check it this morning, but the last couple of days, the website, like it doesn't exist. It's like 404 page error. I'm like, what? So I'm like, well, maybe it's down for maintenance or something. But I checked like a couple days in a row. And I know some they may take a little long. I don't really know what's going on. But even the YouTube channel, they had a YouTube channel, and although they don't name it Holy Megillah or whatever, it's kind of discreet. It said this channel does not exist. So I'm not sure if they pulled it down or maybe some violation happened where YouTube took it down. I don't know, but I want to say, if I'm looking at things correctly, I want to say they themselves ended the channel, especially, and I want to say that because if the website is not down for maintenance, they would have to take the website down themselves, or they could have violated something with their carrier, whatever, or maybe have not paid something. I don't know. I don't think they will like not pay for the website, because websites are pretty cheap and you can pay for them. Like ours, I paid for them like 5 times, and 5 times I pay them for like 5 years up front, right? And they're pretty cheap. So I don't know. I'm gonna try reaching out again, see if I get any kind of answer. But you could never order it online anyway. So what you would have had to do was use their order form. And I brought it down here this morning so y'all can see. And I told people, I said, maybe you can still write. Hold on. I'm sorry. I know I moved y'all all around. But just in case, I got it right here because my laptop was sitting on it. All right. So this is a printed copy. I got one for everything went down, right? Do I still recommend it? I do. I haven't read through all of it yet because we was going to read this out loud, but I actually came across Holy Megillah and Oahspe around about the same time. So as I looked into the Holy Megillah, because this was one that, look, see the triangle on the front? I was going to read this first, but as I began to look into it a little bit more, I realized that there were some legal issues happening between different groups of people. Now, the ones who translated and put it in this printed version is Owen Day, and it's like these scenes. What are they called? These scenes. Hold on. The Nazarene is seeing something of Christ or something like that. But anyway, they printed it. But there's also this, I guess you can say, lawsuit happening with the elders in Kenya with this, and they call this the Holy Nazarite scroll, right? So me taking the vow of a Nazarite and everything. I actually heard about the Holy Megillah first, then shortly after I heard about this. But when I found out all the law issues and stuff that was going on with it, lawsuits and everything, I was like, maybe I should probably like see if I can get permission to read this one. But I had ordered it, and when I got the order form tells you why. I'm like, So if I call them and ask them, it's gonna seem like I don't do my own due diligence and I don't read this, but I had already read it. So I'm like, but why is they trying to keep it a secret, right? So I think it should be published. This is my personal thoughts. Here's what I think. I think it should be made available to everybody. And this is where the lawsuits and stuff come in at, because somebody else also thought it should be made public, right? So they, in a private setting, they were reading it like publicly till they found out that they couldn't be reading it publicly. So they had private, they couldn't do it on YouTube. So they was doing it on like Clubhouse and other places or whatever, calls where they were actually reading it from, and they call it the Holy Scroll, the Holy Nazarite Scroll, right? So, but there's a lawsuit against, they got one against him, and the elders in Kenya are they're kind of like fighting back and forth, like, really, it's in court. I'm like, really? I get it, because the person who translated wants to be compensated for his work. I get that. But when we look at the scheme of things, I get it. Those are just my personal thoughts. But you would have to get it by using their order form, and the order form was on the website, right? So now you can't get the website if you didn't already order one and you don't have the order form for it. Are they located in America? Yes, they are located in America, in Oregon. The Essene, they call it Essene Church, right? And they're Essenes. And so that's another thing. I'm just like, not saying anything bad or whatever, but I just don't understand something that should be knowledge. Like me, when I find out information, I'm like, look, y'all, here's where you find this, what I found. I'm sharing it with everybody, right? Everybody needs this information. That's what I feel about, the Father gave it to you free. You may have to pay a couple dollars for it. I don't mind, but I'm just like, you really should be sharing this, not trying to keep it a secret. But I also understand where they're coming from, where they said that the Essenes, where they pretty much had to hide out because they were being persecuted, right? So in secrecy, they taught and they passed the teachings, the faith teachings down to their people, but they did it in secret because they were heavily persecuted at the time. Not so much today where you literally need to go in hiding, right? So the times have changed, and I think
You were so awesome.
that it should be made available to those. Like, we can openly be Essenes now. Like, we can openly be faithers. We can openly declare the Creator.
An Essene is a person with certain beliefs within a certain system.
A person who truly walks with the Creator. They live the life
If that's the case, I'm Essene all the way. I'm high off life 24/7, bro. The amount of dopamine that be pushing throughout my brain, I be excited for sometimes. That makes no sense. You can't exert. I be on some. Hey,
can y'all tell he my son by the way he talk all fast and stuff?
Like, yo, I'm gonna be honest. I've got to a point where it feels like I'm the MC character of this family, not of this, but the children, like the child they was waiting on, the MC child they was waiting on. Like,
out here, boy.
Which son will be the one that's gonna be a multi-millionaire and actually
get out
be
here?
out
Nobody
here?
even talking about money and stuff. See, that's
first,
what I got to deal with every day. We're trying to have a spiritual meeting here.
First, look at the physique, look at the face, look at the
jawline,
look at the drip, all of it. It looks good. It pieces together.
Get out of
It's
here.
a bar for bar. I am out here, bro.
Listen,
what?
You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be so conceited. Look, take it like down a few notches.
The confidence overflows.
Like I was saying, it's some really, really good information in here. There's some powerful stuff in here. Now I have been kind of going back and forth, like some things in here. I'm like, yo, like it's kind of verified in here, right? So I'm like, oh, this will be so good. Like, I'm still trying to figure out a way to read this to y'all. Like, I ain't want to just be like, look, can I read it? But I think I'm gonna just have to be like, look, can I read it? But I already know, and they give me the whole reason why they don't want it out on the web and stuff. Okay, so here's one reason. I was reading through it again like day before yesterday. I'm like, okay, so they said they don't want it put on the internet and watered down, because you know how people mess with stuff. They add to it, they take it away. They said they don't want that done. But for those who this information falls in the hands of, they're not going to do that stuff. Like, if they're really searching for truth, they're going to get it. They're going to live out its principles, all that good stuff, right? So you can't really control what other people do with your stuff, right? You can put just the proper things in place and put the proper copyrights and all that stuff. If you want to do all that, that's fine. Put it for sale on Amazon, right? Put it for sale on Amazon. Make it available. If you don't have the printer that can print it in bulk, maybe change the printer. I don't know. I'm not privy to some things or whatever, but those are just my thoughts. So, but yeah. Now, there are a couple people. There is also a PDF version that's floating around, right? I also have the PDF version. I'm gonna be honest, it's a violation of the copyright. It really is. I'm gonna just be honest. But I got it not knowing. And matter of fact, somebody sent me a copy of it before I actually got the printed copy of it. But I looked it out, the electronic version. I kind of scrolled through it a little bit, just jumping through some stuff. And when I first got it, I didn't realize it was a copyright infringement, right? Because they said because they don't want it on the internet, but it made its way. The entire book is um it's 965 pages. Just by this 965 pages, just by this thick as a Oahspe, right? Now, I'm not trying to make any money off of this. I ain't selling it in no kind of way. I do have it, and now that it's not available, and yeah, spiritual information. So I have shared it with a few people, right? But that was with the intent that I understand they got good hearts, and they ain't gonna try and sell it to people that's trying to get it. I just figured people got good hearts, they do what's right, right? That's how I looked at it. So I shared it with a couple people, but it is the full copy, and I told them if they wanted it, they could email me for it. I had thought about putting it up where you could get it just download it, but I don't want to do that because that's how another person got in trouble, got their whole website taken down because of um the copyright violation, right? Not that they don't want you to read the spiritual information to grow, but there's a law that's been set in place with this book, and you violated the law by putting it on the website, making it public, right, without proper authorization. So, but I'm saying that to let y'all know, I do have an electronic copy. Hold on. Oahspe College University, CC1. God said, before learning to approach the foot of the throne, what profit is it to show them the way to mount upon the throne itself? I know, right? Listen. Preserve, therefore, the secrets of prophecy. Right. Listen, look, this is why. They alluded to this in that, right? Thank you for reminding us that. Preserve, therefore, the secrets of prophecy for those who apply themselves to keeping Jehovah's commandments. Those who have attained to the foot can of themselves find the way to mount upon it. I agree with that. And that's kind of reiterated in this as well, right? But those who are really searching for it, you're going to figure it out, right? You'll figure it out. But that's why they've removed it. I'm not sure if they're going to put it back up. They're going to make it available because they used to, when it first came out, they used to have it available on Amazon, but they stopped going through Amazon and they decided they would put it out themselves, right? They would put it out themselves. So that's when you had to then write them to get a copy. And they was pretty fast about it when I filled out the order form, because you download the order form off the website. You download it, fill it out, and you send your money order in with it, right? They just, everything real old school. And you got to send in a money order. It took me a while. I'm like, who sends money orders? So I had to call them just to make sure you're going to get my stuff. And I'm sending this. I just need to verify what was on the website. They said yes. I actually talked to somebody, returned the call. They said yes. As soon as we get it, we'll put it in there. We'll get it out to you. I'm like, okay. And the woman was really, really nice, So I'm like, okay. And I just trusted her, So I sent it. I guess it took about 2-3 days to get there, but within 2 weeks, I had it back. It was a box that came. It was this and a couple other things that they had published that they put in there as well, along with this couple of paper pamphlets that goes through a couple of things and share some stuff with you. So, like I said, I'm gonna reach back out to them. I'll try today. They may not answer their phones today, but I'm gonna keep trying, even up to a few days next week, and leave another message to see if somebody return a call, and I'll let y'all know if it's still available. If it's still available, I have the order form. I can send y'all the order form. Yes, baby. Yes, you can. But they only charge $100 for it, right? So that way you can if you want your own hardback copy, you can write them and get it. So like I said, they're reputable. You're gonna get your stuff. You're just gonna have to send a money order. And it could be, I don't know. Like I said, they haven't responded yet. It could be they're just kind of updated some stuff where you can just do it all online instead of mailing in money orders. I don't know. I haven't heard from them yet. I just know the website is down and the YouTube channel is gone. So yeah, right? Okay. We do have to study and show ourselves approved, right? Okay. Yeah, but it's really, really good stuff. I used to know a guy. Oh, you talking to Jamil. Let me read it though. Jamil, I used to know a guy on Facebook who wanted to sue me for using Jehovah's symbol on Facebook. It was copyrighted and I needed his permission to use it. Oh, he was trying to he said it was his. He copyrighted this. Some people do stuff like that. I mean, whatever. You gotta add in some kind of you can't do it just like this. The one you did probably look closer to his, but that's crazy. You know what? Because people are catch trends on things, and it's not like they're true of heart with what they're doing. Some people will notice, and they're really good at following trends, and they're able to get ahead of the trends and make money off of it. Right? They'll like they catch the trend of Oahspe. More people is interested in it. They'll start doing things, and all the Oahspe people, once you start typing it in, if he's good with SEO and stuff, it'll start popping up. And they just kind of get ahead of the trend to make money. They'll just start selling you merchandise and stuff like that. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. All right, y'all. So I'll keep y'all updated on that for those who is still trying to get their hands on a copy of it. And shucks, if he's still I don't know. I'm gonna just see what he say. And if he's still selling it, I think I'm gonna go ahead and snag me another copy of it, just in case. I'm gonna just get me a second one. Maybe one I can use as a I don't know as a loaner, but I ain't mailing my loan out. Like you got to be like here in my same city. Should we don't take my reading materials. I'm gonna come knocking on your door. Hey, I may not come after you for money, but I'm gonna come after you for my books. Hey, especially if I can't get it. Hey, what my book, bro? If it's something that I can get, I can just reorder. But some stuff that I can't get, matter of fact, I'm gonna do like New Mexico archives. You need to come in here and sit under my assistance while bring some paper, some notes, or you want to make copies. I got a printer. Make all the copies you want, but this is not leaving my facility. All right, y'all, let's hop over here. Page 115 in the Field Guide to the Spirit World. You can check eBay for it. I checked. Listen, when I was before I mailed that order form in, and shucks, I didn't have this for a while now. But I checked everything. When I tell you I didn't want to snail mail for this, I checked every website that I knew that sold books to see. I went to eBay, right? I went everywhere to see if somebody had a copy that they were selling, because I just did not want to go get a money order and mail it and wait for it. I wanted to pay for it right now, get my confirmation, and wait for it to come in the mail. Yeah, so yeah. True, y'all. Okay. All right, talking about the symbol. All right, y'all. I shall walk the sky. Quote, there are other worlds and dimensions, and this should be taught in our schools as part of our general education. End quote. I definitely agree with that. Ena Twig, Medium. Quote, a dialogue between two infants in a womb concerning the state of this world might handsomely illustrate our ignorance of the next. End quote. Thomas Brown, 1605 to 1682. Quote, those of us who think that death is an evil are in error. End quote. And that's from Socrates. The great soul, Henry David Thoreau, was only 45 when, stricken with TB, he passed into spirit. Quote, this is a beautiful world, end quote, he said. Quote, but I shall see a fairer, end quote. His last words were, quote, the winter is coming when I shall walk the sky, end quote. Afterward, his sister said, quote, I feel as if something beautiful has happened, not death, end quote. It is fitting in this new era of enlightenment that our understanding of eternity should open up all the myths and fables of the afterlife. Hold on, let me say, hold on. It is fitting in this new era of enlightenment that our understanding of eternity should open up and all the myths and fables of the afterlife should melt away like a baffling dream of the night. I agree with that. And after a new era of enlightenment, after enlightenment, there's an asterisk. And down at the bottom, the asterisk says, this new dawn of light is the subject of my book, Time of the Quickening, and my work in progress, The Cosmon Brief. That book, I just found out she was writing. This is her newest one. It hasn't been released yet. So I'm super interested in that. The Time of Quickening, that's this. Y'all probably already got it if y'all ordered her stuff. This one right here. Time of the Quickening, prophecies for the coming utopian age. And this is in a lineup, but I'm not exactly sure where we're going to put it yet, right? But we're gonna get to it. But if you got it, feel free to read ahead. What book? What book we're reading? Now, what book we're reading now is Field Guide to the Spirit World, and we're on page 116. But this book is Time of the Quickening. And she's also writing another. She has quite a few books in her library, but the current one she's working on now that'll be released, I'm not exactly sure when, that is entitled The Cosmon Brief, right? And you find that she references this down at the bottom of page 115 in the little asterisk. Okay. Okay. It is fitting in this new era of enlightenment that our understanding of eternity should open up and all the myths and fables of the afterlife should melt away like a baffling dream of the night. We're on page 116. Myth number 1, rest in peace. R.I.P. You know how people pass, they put RIP, rest in peace. I put now, rise in peace. Okay, rest in peace. Quote, O man, beware of angels who say, when thou diest, thy spirit shall enter paradise and dwell in perpetual ease and glory, or who say, heaven is an endless summer land with silvery rivers and golden boats for all, end quote. Oahspe Book of Discipline, chapter 3, verses 22 through 23. It says, beware people who tell you that, like, it's going to be an eternal party when you leave and go to heaven. When the great writer Herman Melville stayed in Polynesia, he heard the Tapi version of paradise with its never-ending supply of bananas and breadfruit, a place where, quote, souls rested through eternity upon mats finer than those of the Tapi, and every day bathed their glowing limbs in rivers of coconut oil, end quote. Williamson, 1933, chapter 2, verse 44. Fanciful though it sounds, this is not too different from our own vision of, quote, eternal rest, end quote, which the Victorian era so fondly but ineptly termed, quote, the long silence, end quote. Even today, theology teaches that the soul goes deep at the time of death and remains quiescent until the last judgment. This must be why people assume that death brings peace and rest. The departed, some think, lie in the earth in the, quote, sleep of death, end quote, until their Savior comes, or the good Christian who dies goes immediately to be with her Lord. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 1 through 9, and Philippians chapter 1, verse 21. But is the after death really such a placid existence, filled only by meaningless repose? Do we go to some far off star and there dwell in peace ever after? Who invented this fairy tale? Quote, who shall tell the story of heaven? Can a man describe 1,000,000 men, women, and children, 100 million, 1,000,000,000, 5 billion, and yet this is only the lower heaven? A strange voice rises up from the earth saying, have they anything to do in heaven, O you gods? and the countless millions who know little more than the beasts of the field, yet mortals are falsely taught that they would skip off to paradise and possess great learning in the hour of death. End quote. Oahspe, Book of Osiris, chapter 7, verses 1 through 3. Quote, the universe contains a principle of growth and development. We go not to some heaven of everlasting contemplation and inertia. We have work to do. That is why we were born. Every human soul reaches perfection in time. End quote. Augustine Cahill, Darkness, Dawn, and Destiny. And we're going to read, let's see, we're going to read how many myths in here? We're going to read to the end of the myths, which is it's 4 myths, and we'll read these 2 symbols, and then the first 2 symbols, and then we'll pause. Okay. Myth number 2 on page 117. Myth number 2, rich rewards. Quote, beware of angels who say, eat, drink, and enjoy yourself, for when you are dead, your path shall be straight to glory. End quote. Oahspe, Book of Discipline, chapter 3, verse 24, which reminds me of something that King Solomon said. Ain't nothing better to do than to eat, drink, and be merry. Dr. J.B. Newborough, amanuensis of the Oahspe Bible, 1882, had these thoughts on the Christian heaven. Quote, those who have been devout worshipers of Christ are expected to receive rich rewards, but in what shape has never been explained, quote, except to say that, hold on, I messed some quotes up. Let me start over. Dr. J.B. Newborough, amanuensis of the Oahspe Bible, 1882, had these thoughts on the Christian heaven. Quote, those who have been devout worshipers of Christ are expected to receive rich rewards, but in what shape has never been explained, end quote, except to say that, quote, after a person has become sufficiently pure, he rises up and sits by Jesus on the right hand of the Father, and the dove sits at the foot of the throne. They, purified, have nothing more to do but sing and pray all their eternal lives, bowing and smiling forever. End quote. Quoted in Martinez 2009 Appendix D. Myth number 3, in the twinkling of an eye. Quote, think not that great wisdom cometh suddenly by dying, yet with faith in thy soul thou shalt die and enter heaven fearlessly. End quote. Oahspe, Book of Judgment, chapter 20, verse 19, and chapter 20, verse 21. I don't know why I broke that up. They should have just said 20 to 21. All right. Somewhere along the line, someone started teaching that death in the twinkling of an eye endows us with universal knowledge or instantly improves our being in some important way. But as Chang X, Psychics 1972, page 103 put it, quote, because we are in another dimension, many people think that we are all seeing and all knowing, but that is not true. I am only a helper, and each of you as a helper in our world who seeks to light a little path that is so often fraught with difficulties, end quote. And after, and each of you has a helper, there's an asterisk after helper. And the asterisk at the bottom of page 118 says, the progress of spirits depend on, quote, extending helping hands to those on planes of life below, simply because no man can lift himself by his own bootstraps. Each needs help, end quote. Titus 1971, page 117. Go back up under the paragraph of myth 3 to the second quotation that was pulled out, quote, death causes no change in the human spirit, end quote. Arthur Conan Doyle, The Edge of the Unknown. Major General Alfred Drayson, a friend of Doyle's and scholar in his own right, held the same view. That is, that every spirit passes over to the next world exactly as it is, with no change whatever. The world is full of wise or foolish people. So is the next. Quote, The next world is but an extension of this one, and whatever we are here, so shall we be there. Whatever possibilities we have latent now shall be developed then. End quote. Augustine Cahill, Darkness, Dawn, and Destiny. In recent years, the PSI literature has filled up with ADCs, after death communications, that often sober, sometimes detailed accounts of the change called death. As one soul newly arrived in a spirit world related, quote, transition from the physical body to the ethereal body occupies only a matter of moments. I feel no different, nothing angelic. What do we do here? We do everything for which we are fitted. End quote. Fuller, 1986, page 80. In other words, spirits, quote, are apportioned to different places according to their development, and proper officers and teachers are provided unto them, end quote. Oahspe, Book of Thor, chapter 4, verse 10. So if you die here, what we call death, but you're born into the spirit world, and you need to learn the ABCs of spirituality like you died, not even realizing you was a spirit, you're going to get teachers that are going to teach you from that point, like you need beginning ABCs like pre-K. We'll send you here, right? You're going to go to wherever your learning took you. Whatever you learned on earth or didn't learn um, will be the key factor to where you go when you leave here, right? And you'll just kind of grow from there, because you can't skip steps. You can skip a couple, like walking up the stairs. You can easily skip one or two, just like in school. If you're a really good studier, you can just pick up on principles, and you pulling in information, your mind is kind of working fast, so you're able to test out of certain courses, test out of grades, and they can bump, you can skip the 7th grade, right? You can go to 8th. It's rare that people skip 2 grades, right? Just like you can easily walk over one step going up the stairs. You might have a little bit more struggle doing 2 steps. People with really long legs or really tall, they could probably go from 1 to the 4th step, but it's really, really rare. And it's like, what am I gonna do that for? It's too much. No, I'm gonna just walk up the stairs, right? It's an even flow, because the more you try to skip, the longer you're gonna have to stretch. You're gonna tire yourself out. You're gonna create some pains, aches. When we just want an easy progression where you're not missing anything. We won't have to worry about you tiring yourself out, falling back down. We're gonna progress level by level. We may let you skip one. Hold on. In recent years, the PSI literature has filled up with ADCs, after death communications, that offer sober, sometimes detailed accounts of the change called death. As one soul newly arrived in the spirit world related, quote, transition from the physical body to the ethereal body occupies only a matter of moments. I feel no different, nothing angelic. What do we do here? We do everything for which we are fitted. End quote. Fuller, 1986, page 80. In other words, spirits, quote, are apportioned to different places according to their development, and proper officers and teachers are provided unto them, end quote. Oahspe, Book of Thor, chapter 4, verse 10. Quote, you gravitate to a place you are fitted for, end quote, communicated a young man who had died in World War I. Quote, there is no judge or jury, you just gravitate like to like, end quote. Each finds his place. Each writes his own destiny. Robert Monroe called it a homing device, familiar with the outer regions from his own extensive OBEs. Monroe thought that, quote, your destination in heaven or hell seems to be grounded within the framework of your deepest, constant motivations, emotions, and personality, which act as your homing device when you enter into this realm. Monroe, 1971, page 121. We talked about Robert Monroe extensively. I have his whole library, right? He has a college here up in Northern Virginia that literally they teach you how to you can call it spiritual development. They teach you how to develop yourself And they show you how to have out of body experiences, and how like it's really like a science, not nothing new age or nothing like that, but it's a whole science to it, so much so that the government uses it. Remember, we talked about it, the government released, matter of fact, even in the document, the declassified document that the government released, they use Robert Monroe and his science, his research, and his study in it. And they still to this day use what they learned from what he tested and had proven with the human body and the spirits. And everybody has a spirit, has a body, and you can do this. Like, this is, it's like nothing spooky, nothing new agey. Although they put all this information in the new age and the occultic sections of bookstores and stuff, teach people to stay away from it, because trained the wrong way, you could literally become a weapon. But you want to doing yourself disservice, because you're gonna have to come back and clean up your messes sooner or later, right? But his books are really good to help you understand a lot of stuff, help you grow leaps and bounds spiritually. Even has a safe, I think it's safe because I shared it. They still have I think the last playlist that I played, the last playlist that I shared with Robert Monroe, they removed that too, but they have another one that's up, to where they have his waves that you can go through, and it kind of it trains you, right? But I think it's safe. I do. I've gone through most of it. I haven't finished it yet. But it's a safe place to a safe place to study, so to speak, right? And he gives you all the details, ins and outs on what to do. Selah, shalom. And he walks you through the steps of what's happening, in your out of body experiences and how to grow spiritually, right? But they also have it's a facility, shucks, I will call it a college. And they even do retreats there. They have it to where you can download the programs. You can join live programs that's like I think like 9 weeks. No, I get the weeks mixed up. They do like different ways. So it's like 6 to 12 weeks, different ones you can choose, and you can even do live ones where you actually come to their campus and go through this. They have all kind of stuff, and they even have it to where they actually train people, like they really train them spiritually, right? I'm like, I've never seen anybody else. Like, we're just kind of learning, hit and miss, and going through things, but they have figured it out like down to the T, at least from my understanding, like a science on how to walk through this and develop your spirit and just make sure you like in tune. Ain't nothing kooky or crazy, nothing like that. I didn't listen into a lot of their stuff. They even have it to where, like, if people want to become trained and become certified to do it, they even offer that. And that's a whole long course that they go through just to make sure people are helping people the right way. And I think it's a really, really good course from what I see and some of the testimonials and stuff, because you can actually help people who are having issues of what we would call mental sickness and stuff. You're able to quickly hone in on what's happening with them, how to help set them free, and just all of this stuff. So I would recommend anything by Robert Monroe, right? At least so far. All the things I checked out, I have his whole library and the waves and stuff. And if, like I said, I'll reshare the playlist today in the community section, Robert Monroe. But if you want it in your own library, I also have them downloaded to my computer. And if you have something where you can download, just email me and I'll email you the whole thing. That way you don't have to worry about them deleting it, because the playlist that I put up, when I put it up there, because I think it was copyright infringement, YouTube removed the whole list. So I'm like, oh, yep, I violated something. So I'm gonna have to email it to you. So if you want it, email me and I'll email it to you. Right? Okay. Okay. Page 119. Right above myth 4, that last paragraph. Each finds his place, each writes his own destiny. Robert Monroe called it a homing device. Familiar with the outer regions from his own extensive OBEs, Monroe taught that, quote, Your destination in heaven or hell seems to be grounded within the framework of your deepest constant motivations, emotions, and personality, which act as your homing device when you enter this realm. End quote. Monroe, 1971, page 121. Myth number 4, angels. In Western society, one thinks of angels as being some separate or higher evolution, bouncy little cherubic creatures with wings, halos, and pale beatific faces. Yet angels are nothing more than the souls of the dead, of the departed. The wise Cicero underscored this point. Quote, is not almost all heaven filled with the human? Those very gods themselves had their original, and it has sick, SIC, in square brackets, had their original sick here below and ascended from hence into heaven. End quote. Wickland, 1974. And this is why the earthborn gods call themselves simply elder brother. A human being on the physical plane is called a corporean, and on the spiritual plane, an Essene, an angel. As Dr. Betty explained, quote, we are one kind of being, and spirits are another. We are visible, and they are not. We are subject to the laws of physics, and they are not. We have physical bodies, and they do not. Yet they are as conscious as we are, as individual as we are. End quote. Betty, 2012, page 28. Quote, Jehovah said, on corpore, I bring forth man into life, and I give him a corporal body, which is a womb for the spirit to dwell in. And when I deliver him from this womb, he becometh an inhabitant of atmosphere. Man I gave a corporal body, that he might learn corporal things, but death I made that he might rise in spirit and inhabit my ethereal worlds. My heavens are for raising the soul upward forever and ever. End quote. Oahspe, Book of Sappha, Osiris 121, and Book of Knowledge. And up here within this quote, pulled from here, it says, and I give him a corporal body, which is a womb for the spirit to dwell in. After in, there's an asterisk. And the asterisk down at the bottom says, the Elohist brothers put it this way, quote, just as a fetus resides in a womb, which is the ideal environment in which to grow until it is strong enough to subsist on its own, our spirit is at first housed in a corporal body in its flesh until it is strong enough to subsist on its own in the eternal world of spirit. Angelic beings are not a separate order in creation, but once mortals like us, end quote. That's Oahspe Elohist edition, XVI to III. I ain't gonna sit here and think about that Roman numeral. Let's go back up. All men go to spirit at death and become angels, but angels are of all characters and grades, including guardian angels, which are Ashars, matchmaking angels, who are the Lewis, materializing angels, Sargis, and others who work for the upliftment of souls, as well as bad angels or devas, lusters, angels of secret vice, chaotic, deranged angels, and druhas. The Ashar's job is to make a record of every mortal, of the grade of his wisdom and goodness, and when that mortal dies and his spirit is delivered, his record is delivered with him to the S world. The grade of a man, or for that matter of a nation. I didn't even know it's gonna be reading this talking about the grades. Look, listen, that's good. The grade of a man, or for that matter of a nation, can be measured on a scale from 1 to 99, the latter being the highest possible grade, while grade 1 is the lowest. I said 0 is imbecile, right? So if you under 1, you imbecile. I know earlier I said 0, but 0 is considered imbecile. Okay. The grade of a man, or for that matter of a nation, can be measured on a scale from 1 to 99, the latter being the highest possible grade, while grade 1 is the lowest. All the great prophets from Zarathustra to Jashu, remember Jashu is who we call Jesus today, from Zarathustra to Jashu were above grade 90. As Justin Titus, yes,
I know you can hear that.
I can. Tell him I said turn it down. As Justin Titus, 1971, page 148 and 31, put it, as Justin Titus put it, quote, close that door. Hold on, y'all. No, you opened up the door. It was fine with the door being shut. It's just when you open it. I mean, it wasn't bothering me while the door was shut, but when you opened it, yeah, he out there working out. That's fine. Okay. As Justin Titus put it, quote, the elevator to heaven is not running. Take the stairs, the grades. Eventually, every man must climb those grades and develop strength, purity, love, and power through the exertion that comes through climbing. That is so good. We was literally, I was using a reference of stairs. I did not know who was going to read this today, y'all. Okay, that's good. Let me read it again. As Justin Titus, 1971, page 148 and 31 put it, quote, the elevator to heaven is not running. Take the stairs, the grades. Eventually, every man must climb those grades and develop strength, purity, love, and power through the exertion that comes through climbing, end quote. Though many factors combine to establish one's personal grade, the scheme is essentially a measure of goodness, of benevolence, of service to others. Grade 1 represents complete selfishness, while grade 99 represents the highest degree of selflessness. In fact, the tetracts of the ancients define Satan, as the most pernicious of man's inclinations, and its oldest translation was, quote, selfishness per se, end quote. Right? So clearly, they're not just here, but it's quite a few religions that teach Satan is not like a person, but Satan is like the Lord, the lowest nature of yourself. That portion of your nature that wants to do everything bad, go overboard, just excess everything, doesn't want to live righteously, just want to be lazy, revel in mischief, all that stuff. And you have to fight against that with your higher nature, which Christianity calls Jesus. You can see these characters even in Egyptology and a couple other religions, how they put it, right? But even Oahspe calls it, even though Joshua was a real person, Satan is Satan can also, people can take on the name of Satan or Satans or whatever, Jews, Juhas, demons, right? It's, you can look at it from either level, right? And you can't really discount any level because people can be Satan, but not like these Satan, like this character. That's a myth, right? Um, but you can act in those ways, which is like lower nature, all about selfishness and stuff, right? So remember, stories have to be told to children so they can understand the principles, right? Not that these stories we were telling you were actually, not that the idols, the Ken and Barbie that we were actually using to teach you of these principles are true. They're not. These are just representing principles, and along the way people forgot that they were principles and began to worship them as real things. You know, y'all get it, right? Okay. Though many factors combine to establish one's personal grade, the scheme is essentially a measure of goodness, of benevolence, of service to others. Grade 1 represents complete selfishness, while grade 99 represents the highest degree of selflessness. In fact, the tetracts of the ancients define Satan, as the most pernicious of man's inclinations, and its oldest translation was, quote, selfishness per se. There is nothing complicated or abstract or metaphysical in this philosophy. It is as straightforward and as a simple act of kindness or malice. Crime analysts, quote, believe the psychopath is fundamentally a self absorbed person, motivated by a global attitude of selfishness, end quote. Kerwin, 1997, page 88. Selfishness is, according to Dr. Nandor Fodor, the ultimate key to malign overshadowing, where he defines, quote, possession as an invasion of the living by a discarnate spirit for the purpose of selfish, emphasis added on selfish, for, for the purpose of selfish gratification by the spirit, end quote. As one overshadowed individual experienced it, the entity harassing her, quote, doesn't feel malicious, just selfish, end quote. Sagan, 1997, page 17. And by the same token, one criminologist explained that women who kill their own children, quote, are all self-involved. The babies mean nothing, end quote. Like Marie No, who killed 8 of her own babies, quote, the baby cried all the time and was getting on her nerves, end quote. Glatt, 2002, page 169 and 67. All right, so let me go back. And here it has two figures, the icon of S and the ancient sign of selfishness. So on page 121, right here it says S spirit world. This is that right here. Right here. And that says figure 5.2, icon of S, the unseen world where angels live. S in Aramaic meant, quote, spirit, end quote. S encompass all that is beyond. The gaps in the circle represent openings for light to reach us coming from the higher emancipated heavens. Let me show you again so you can see the breaks in it, around it, right? It's like that north, south, east, and west. The breaks are there. And so here's the other one down here at the bottom. This is figure 5.3, the ancient sign of selfishness. Quote, the more a man's spirit is wrapped up in his own materiality, the more he is influenced by the spirits of darkness, end quote. Howard, 1971, page 136. And I think this is where, I think, pause right here. Yeah, I think we'll pause right here. Because all this is still like one flowing thing. So we're just gonna break it up right here. We're gonna pause because I can't believe we already been on like over 2 hours. No, about 2 hours now. 1 hour. Well, without the video cutting off. So we've been on here over 2 hours. All right, so we're gonna pause right here, y'all, and we'll come back. And I might reread this. I might reread this last paragraph tomorrow. So tomorrow is Saturday, and my professor gave us the class off because of holiday weekend. I'm like, yes, work is still due on time, but he canceled class for tomorrow. So that means we got a lot of time tomorrow if we want to take it. So yay. All right, beautiful people. Let me pause. Thank y'all for hanging out. I think everybody might be off today. Some people probably had to work. But for the most part, I guess everybody home, I'm thinking. All right, y'all. So that was it for today, y'all. It is Friday, November the 25th, 2022, day 271 of year 4 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets, another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1291. We read in Oahspe. We finished Book of Ashong, Son of Jehovah, pages 48 through 51, and we just finished reading the Field Guide to the Spirit World, pages 115 to 122, which is in chapter 5, entitled I Shall Walk the Sky. All right, y'all. I am going to post those couple things I said. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and post the order form just in case you can still order it. I'm gonna post it, but I'll let y'all know when I actually hear from them, if they respond or if they give me a call back, if they're still sending them out, if you can still order them. And if not, I'm gonna see if they're gonna put it back up or whatever, and I'll let y'all know from there. If not, I don't know. I think I'm gonna also ask. I don't know. I'm just gonna ask. I'm gonna tell them I know I done read it and you said not to put it up there. But I want to like verbally, ask you, has this changed in any kind of way? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I'll even ask if, well, I don't know. I'm gonna see. Maybe we might get some kind of special favor. Come check out the channel and see what we're doing. Like, we're not trying to monetize, do nothing. You know, listen, we just trying to grow spiritually. So, all right, y'all. I'll let y'all know for those who want a copy of that. The Holy Megillah, the Nazarene Bible of the Essene Way. It's some really good stuff in there, some eye-opening stuff. All right, and it does go into some things what we would consider magic, or what we were taught magic is, but it goes in here describing some of this stuff. It has the holy God spelled in here. It's really good. I like the table of contents. Let me just read you from the table of contents. I'm not going to read it, but I'm going to tell you like what's found in here, right? It's a note to the reader. Then it has Matana, which is the Nazarene Genesis, the book of Enoch from the Essenes, from how they wrote it, the book of Hanukkah, Hanukkah, the book about the matriarchs and the patriarchs, the book of Isha, the precepts of Zion, the door of the wizard, and that's where it comes in, where it's sharing some of those magical things or whatever. It goes into some of that. The odes of Shlomo, which is Solomon, the book of Noah, proclamation of Isaiah, the book of Moses, the glory of kings, prophecy of Micah on the Magdalene, the prophecy of Malachi. And then it has the holy God spell, and that in here is how many chapters? Oh, the rest of the book is the holy God spell, and that's 82 chapters. Then it has the appendix and expanded footnotes. Y'all want to hear about like the subtitles of the chapters? Let me know if y'all want me to, in the holy God spell. So you like probably, what is the holy God spell? What's in there? You want me to read like some of the chapters, like what they're talking about? Because with each chapter, it gives you a chapter title. You want to hear the chapter titles of what's in there? Y'all can kind of decide if y'all want to order a copy. Look more into it. Like I said, I'm not sure that you can find it anywhere because they pulled it down. You want to hear what some of the titles of these chapters are? Yes, read the titles. Okay, so chapter 1, and the Holy God spell actually begins on page 335. So the first over 300 pages is these other scrolls and stuff that they found, like the Essene Genesis and all that stuff, right? So in the Holy God spell, chapter 1 is the preamble to the Holy God spell. Chapter 2 is background to the holy incarnations of the Lord and Lady. Now you got to read that a little bit because we talk about incarnations, but you got to read it. Chapter 3 is the revelation of the angel and the establishment of the order of the Immaculate Conception. I haven't gotten into that. Chapter 4 is the prophecy of Malachi fulfilled by the incarnation of Elijah as John the Baptist, and an account of the martyrdom of Zechariah. Chapter 5, Joseph and Mary as youths in the order of the Immaculate Conception. Like I said, I ain't got that far yet, but the Holy God spell caught me, so I'm not exactly sure what's back there, to test the information yet. Chapter 7 is the birth of the Lord Christ. Jade come as Yeshua, including the story of the 7 shepherds and the story of the 3 wise magi. So this has some stuff like we see in a New Testament. So you're gonna have to like really go through it just to kind of see. I'm gonna say, yeah, just to kind of see and decipher the information yourself. It's not too much that I can really tell you because I've really been up here in the front going through the book of Enoch, right, and the Genesis story from the Essenes perspective of it. But I keep reading these. Chapter 8, the birth and childhood of the Lady Christ. Jana come as Miriam. Oh, something I did notice. You know how the New Testament is more like pushing the man side. This here includes the woman, that shows that the women were an active part of society and they weren't like discriminated against, how like what we see in the New Testament. So I thought that was interesting. Like I said, I haven't really gotten through any of that yet, but that's something that I saw, that the women weren't actually discriminated against in the Essenes community. They were treated and it was recognized equally with the men, right? Which is something we see in Oahspe, which I thought was really interesting. Okay, give us the rundown of the name. Yeah, okay. So that was chapter 8. Chapter 9, first postscript to the childhood of Miriam, 7 precepts of Zebiah the herbalist. Oh, that's something I noticed too, even not just in here, but I excuse me, I have been looking at more things on the Essenes, and how they were also recognized as healers, because for one, they were plant-based. They were really familiar with the herbs and the plant life, the plant kingdom around, on how to actually restore the body. So it's interesting where when we look at the New Testament, the healings from that we see Jesus doing is more like supernatural, woo, and that happens like that, to whereas in the Essenes, it looks like the majority of the healings actually came by them actually teaching people how to restore their own bodies by eating life-giving foods. And they were teaching them about the plant kingdom and stuff like that. And they were considered healers, like they were like master herbalists, the Essenes, right? So I'm like, oh, this is amazing, babe. Hey, look at Rose. Bella named the peace lily Rose.
Man, you got some sticks holding that thing.
I do not.
Are you serious? When that thing came back to life and it was droopy?
Yo, ain't that amazing?
My Lord.
That's what I told Mama. I said, Mom.
Yo, this thing was drooped like it's down. I was gonna throw it out.
Yeah, he was. I was, don't you throw my plant away. Literally, when I say that plant was drooped down, if y'all ever seen a plant, like, oh my gosh, what's that happening? Like literally hanging all over, and she was.
This
she
is
was
little shop of horror plant, man.
She's a huge plant. All of them. When I say all of them over.
That's weird. That is weird. I've never seen that.
That was literally overnight. Yeah, literally.
You just washed the leaves off and washed it up yesterday.
Yeah, literally overnight.
Oh,
that's amazing. That's beautiful, ain't it?
That is freaking nice. I never would have thought, man.
Listen.
She called it, what Bella called it, peace lily?
She named her Rose.
Rose.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised. She said, "Can I name her?" I said, "Yeah, I just knew she would, because she named everything else Lily."
Listen,
she named her Rose.
I thought
Rose. She rose from the dead.
True that, yeah. But listen, I really thought.
French Shalom.
I really thought I was about to say we ain't getting no real plants in this house because
he want to fill the house with fake plants. I'm like, listen, I need to work on my green thumb.
Yeah, it just wasn't working fast enough for me.
Yeah, see, we got to go through the steps, husband. We can't be skipping steps. When we skip steps, I miss things and I can't figure out what we went wrong.
Right. You are right, concubine.
Would you call me a concubine?
I'm sorry. I mean, wife. But no, I'm
about to close this and kick your butt.
That was nice though, man. That's good. You said people break those off and give them to people?
Can you do the same thing with wilted lettuce? Then that, I don't know.
Wilted?
Look,
that's cut from the.
I throw wilted lettuce away. I am not a master herbalist yet.
That's still the dirt though.
Yeah, see, I get, well, it depends. Like my husband just said, if it's already cut, right? You saying you can do the same thing. Oh, I thought you was asking. Okay, so I read it wrong. You were saying you can do the same thing with wilted lettuce. So wilted lettuce that's still attached to the base of the lettuce, right?
Still in the ground.
Yeah, that's like still in the ground, or even if you pull it out and if it's still all connected to the seed base, then I would say yeah. Just thinking about things, yeah. Okay, so let's get back to reading these. I'm gonna read off. What was it, 58 or 56? I'm gonna read all. Oh no, I'm sorry. What I'm talking about? I'm sorry, y'all. It's what I say. I got 50. I said, did I say it right the first time? It's 82. Let me just finish reading. Okay, if y'all want to hear. All right. Who was we at? Chapter 10. Second postscript to the childhood of Miriam, a song of Zemira. Chapter 11. third postscript to the childhood of Miriam, the testimony of Mayor, the last entry to his journal. Chapter 12, fourth postscript to the childhood of Miriam, a teaching of Mayor, as recorded by Yaziel. Lettuce from your fridge. Sometimes I chop the base off and throw the base away, and I wash my lettuce and I put it in the fridge. I don't think I can redo it after I cut the base off. Okay, chapter 13 is the fifth postscript to the childhood of Miriam, 7 teachings of Bar Hesed. Bar, B-A-R space Hesed, H-E-S-E-D. Chapter 14, sixth postscript to the childhood of Miriam, 7 teachings of Yishra, grandmother of Zemira, martyred the night of the burning of Eden. And if y'all trying to write them down fast, remember this is recorded. You can just, when I'm done and this is uploaded or whatever, you can just slow it down and write if you want to write it down. Chapter 15, 7th postscript to the childhood of Miriam, 7 teachings of Metsoda, grandmother of Zeba, martyred the night of the burning of New Eden. Chapter 16, the childhood of Yeshua. And you can I don't know that this is the same as some of the childhood things that you find in some of the Catholic versions. What is it called? Like because I got a lot of them. I ordered a couple and I got some audibles, and you can find a lot of these on YouTube. People read them. There's like the childhood of Jesus and stuff, and you listen to some of the books or whatever. What I'm reading from now, we talked about this Holy Megillah, the Nazarene Bible of the Essene Way, but it's also called the Holy Nazarite Scroll. I wish I had my babe. Can you tell Josh to bring me my iPad? I'm gonna read y'all something. Why they call this the Holy Nazarite Scroll. It doesn't come from here. This comes from some of the people that work with the elders in Kenya, right? And so, but they said I'm gonna read that to you after I finish reading this, on why there's this whole legal thing going on. And they said they're leaking it because the people who did this, the way they're doing it, the elders at Kenya don't agree with it. They said everybody should have it, right? But apparently the person who got it and translated it, the person that there's like a whole story on how they even got it into their hands. But he was like, at the time, the only one here that they knew of who could actually translate the Holy Nazarite Scroll. And he translated and he put it in here and called it the Holy Megillah, right? So now there's this whole thing going on. Okay, so I'm gonna read y'all that in a second. Hold on, let me just pull it up. I'm gonna read y'all. Books. I saved it in my books too. What? It didn't trans. Hold on. I'm gonna have to. Hold on. I'm gonna just have to move it over real quick so I can read it to you. Megillah. Right there. Okay. Okay, I found it. Okay. All right, so let me finish reading you these here. And I already read like the first half of the book, and it's the table of contents I got to read. At the top of the table of contents in bold is Matana and Eternal Covenant. And that's where you see all of the older scrolls from the Essenes writings like Enoch, Hanukkah, Book of Isha, Zion, Shlomo, Book of Noah, Book of Moses, Proclamation of Isaiah, the Glory of Kings, Prophecy of Micah on the Magdalene, and the Prophecy of Malachi. That's all the first third of the book, right? Okay, so chapter 16 is the childhood of Yeshua. There's a Holy Megillah. Yeah, there is, and that's different from this. That's different from this, because when you go looking for it, you can get that off of Amazon. That shows up everywhere, but that is not this. Chapter 16, the childhood of Yeshua. Yeshua. Chapter 17, reports on the wondrous child spread and the account of the sacred procession of the children and elders. Chapter 18, The Holy Family returns to Mount Carmel. Chapter 19, 12-year-old Yeshua creates a disturbance outside the Aaronic temple in Jerusalem. And so this, I kind of skimmed ahead just a little bit. And now that I understand a little bit about the Aaronic priesthood now, what would the priesthood who I originally thought were following the creator, but then when I realized I learned a little bit more about the sacrifices and stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, all of this is blasphemy against creator, right? Moses, he didn't sanction any of this stuff, right? And we know Moses' words were changed, and they all, y'all, this is a mess. But the disturbance outside the Aaronic temple that Joshua created, that was really interesting. Chapter 20, first postscripts to the childhood of Yeshua, the 7 precepts on loyalty of Sharon the prophetess, mother of high priest Rose. I didn't read that yet. That was good. Like I said, I'm trying to get everything, just skimming stuff, but I wanted to read it through just like we read Oahspe. But yeah. Okay, chapter 21, second postscripts to the childhood of Yeshua, 7 precepts of thanksgiving of high priestess Rose, who is called the Rose of Sharon because she is the daughter of Sharon the prophetess. And we read about the Rose of Sharon. We see that we didn't even realize, at least up until this point, I'm thinking that was just like a saying, like the Rose of Sharon, like a saying, like my beautiful Rose or something like that. That's what I thought that was. I didn't realize that was like an actual person. Nazarene is seen, referred to the book Moses and the original Torah. Let me write that down. I got to keep all my references together, y'all. I'm trying to figure all this out.
You got thin screens, huh?
Okay, babe. What you say? Moses and the original Torah. Y'all, by the time we get done doing this, we're gonna have like a whole college education worth of material where we can help people grow. Pull in these reference books you're gonna need for this course. By the time you get done here, you will not be the same. You would not be the same. Like from the time you started, you will be having grown by leaps and bounds spiritually, naturally. Okay, let me get back to reading this. Okay. Chapter 21, I read that one. I read it again. Chapter 21 is second postscript to the childhood of Yeshua, 7 precepts of thanksgiving of high priestess Rose, who is called the Rose of Sharon because she is the daughter of Sharon the prophetess. Chapter 22, the third postscript to the childhood of Yeshua, a poem of David by Rose with lessons for all, emptied and filled. Chapter 23, fourth postscript to the childhood of Yeshua being 12 teachings of Mary, the mother of Yeshua, on motherhood. Chapter 24, fifth postscript to the childhood of Yeshua, the canticle of love of Mother Mary. And some of the titles be like, I don't know, but I'm seeing everything all the way to the end. Based on some of my newly found understanding, I'm able to decipher a lot more truth from error now, right? So, all right, chapter 25 is 6th postscript to the childhood of Yeshua, 12 teachings on Joseph, father of Yeshua. Chapter 26, 7th postscript to the childhood of Yeshua, the psalm for David Da by Abishua, the Lion of Sharon. Chapter 27, Yeshua returns to Alexandria to study with the Yair with the martyrdom of David and an encounter with Miriam in India. Chapter 28, some words and acts of Yeshua in India. Chapter 29, the 49-day fast of Yeshua with answers for the lions of his presence includes the 3 tempters of Lucifer. Chapter 30, Miriam's time in Ethiopia. Chapter 31, the first 6 disciples of the Lord Christ. Chapter 32, Nathanael accepts the call to discipleship. Chapter 33, Levi and Matha accept the call to discipleship. Chapter 34, Tayom and Ra'am accept the call to discipleship. Chapter 35, Apollos accepts the call to discipleship. Chapter 36, the yoke of discipleship. Yeshua addresses his disciples before meeting Miriam. Chapter 37, the first meeting of Yeshua and Peter the Ebionite. Chapter 38, the Magdalene's lion comes to her side at the pass through the Mount of Transfiguration. Chapter 39, the Quolayah, Qowlayah, the Quolayah, the scroll of John the Baptizer being the proclamation of their coming and the selected sayings of John. Chapter 40, the initiatory baptisms of the Lord and Lady as publicly proclaimed Christ Messiahs by John the Baptizer. Chapter 41, Peter returns and leads the first schism against the Lord and Lady. What time we starting tomorrow? 6:15. Yeah, 6:15 tomorrow. Even though I ain't got class, we'll do 6:15. Um, Chapter 42, the Lord and Lady instruct John's remnant. Chapter 43, and here's one I thought was interesting. I got to go back listen to this because we ain't never heard nothing about this. Too early than that. You be the first one in here 6:15 during the week. I'm playing with you, but yeah, we're gonna start at 6:15 tomorrow. Look, right here, chapter 43, the wedding of Yahusha and Miriam at Gan Shalom in Cana, with an account of the martyrdom of Father Joseph and a letter from Gawanjamin, Gahwehjahman. Chapter 44, the circle of ritual of the green wizards of the white rose and the initiations of the wedding guests at Gan Shalom. Chapter 45, the council of the green wizards of the white rose. Part 2, Yeshua and Miriam address the green wizards. Chapter 46, the initiates of Shemesh and Shemaiah join the green wizards in the orchard. Chapter 47, the wedding guests of the Lord and Lady at Gan Shalom journey together to climb sacred Mount Hermon and meet Nazarenes of ancient lore, includes the Appleseed prophecy, a gift to green man from the Magdalene. Listen, Oahspe College University, I saw what you just said. Email me, bro. Matter of fact, I'm going to email you. Chapter 48, Zahin discourses of the Lord and Lady to the lions of Zion on Mount Hermon. Chapter 49, words of light, 50 proverbial sayings of Yeshua and Miriam spoken to the Nazarene congregation in Syria. Chapter 50, a sermon on the journey to Mount Carmel titled Yeshua's Sermon to the Fellowship of Trusted Companions of the Lord and Lady. Chapter 51, the night before their arrival at Mount Carmel, the first sermon of Magdalene on Essene Tantra. Listen, when they start talking about some tantric things and some of the other material that they printed out on some of this, because I had already studied some of the tantra stuff a little bit, just looking into things, because it's all a part of understanding a whole lot of stuff that's going on here. When I started coming across the chakras, I started coming across the tantric stuff and looking into some of this. In some of the teachings, they talk about this a lot. I'm like, yeah, you're on mountain time. I'm sorry for that. But remember, sis, we always record it. I know you like to be here on time and be here for the whole thing. Okay, look. Hold on. Jamil said the main gospel of Yeshua addresses his marriage to Miriam as well. It's very short. I ordered. I still haven't got mine yet. I'm waiting for it. It says it's very short. It says they had a chaste marriage. She died before him so he could finish his mission. Okay, yeah, it's something. I ain't gonna really get into it, but I'm waiting for that so I can see that and just kind of, you know, we still trying to sort all this stuff out, right? Hold on. Chapter 52. The Lord and Lady and companions are welcome at the Essene village at the base of Mount Carmel, featuring the second sermon of the Magdalene on Essene Tantra. The meaning of the term Essene Tantra Yoga and experiencing ecstasy in sexual union. Yo, so remember, we didn't read this one, right? But I was telling y'all, it's been a few months now. It's hold on. Where is it? Um. Okay. Now, I ain't telling y'all to go get into Egyptology and stuff like that, but something that I learned going through here, there's a lot of truths you can pull out. And here, this book, Sacred Sexuality, um, uh, Dr. Mawata Ashby, he explains a lot. Some things that I've tested before I had even come across this. I had begun to notice some things during, you know, the unions of my husband and myself, right? And I was trying to figure out certain things, and some people call it sex magic. And for lack of better terms, that's what the words that I was using, trying to describe some of this stuff that would happen when the two come together. It's like other spiritual principles and things that can happen, not just the energy transfers, but this really gets deep. This is really good. Just give you like a really basic understanding of it. But if you understand what happens with your body and how the chakras work or the energies in the body, like this is really, for lack of better words, our body is literally a vehicle. Our spirits need to learn how to drive in this realm, right? And you can produce a whole lot of different stuff. Now, you know, just a little bit, I'm just saying. But that talks about that, and it should be a part of our education growing spiritually. Not that, oh my God, I'm gonna learn some magic and stuff like that. No, like we're learning laws and principles and different things and a purpose for the body, how we're anchored here, how the spirit grows in connection with the flesh, and why we need flesh to anchor the spirit to grow from birth for a period of time. Like this is I think that gets in. It really should. That's probably like some stuff you probably should learn when I say high school courses, right? Maybe high school courses, because when you're younger, you don't really need to learn that stuff just yet, right? There's some other things you need to learn as you grow older, and when you become of age to practice this, like you become of age to drive a car, like they have rules and regulations, ages, requirements. When you reach this age, we can begin tackling this, because now we're not just talking to you about it. We can actually go out here and test and prove these principles, right? Now you can get behind the wheel of a car with somebody that's trained, and we can go and we can learn, right? When you start getting into that tantric stuff spiritually, you probably should be of age, and possibly you should have a mate where you're married on the same page. And all right, now we can enter this course, right? And that's where the Lewis takes over, the massive generations, the matchmakers, the one who bring the lovebirds together. Your Lewis should help you through this portion while you're learning this, right? But anyway, this hits on some of that. They have another whole book dedicated to just this, and you know I got it. I ain't showed y'all that one, but because I ain't gone through it yet, but I'm just saying. Hold on. Bella said, if you make a big old fashion breakfast tomorrow, they would be too full to interrupt you. They might, but they ain't really eating for it. They just kind of picking on stuff and drinking water and eating fruit, you know, because they getting their immune systems, if you want to say immune system or whatever, they get themselves back up to 100. So they ain't really been eating for real. So they you know, they didn't quiet down. They doing their thing. They chilling out. Okay, let me get back to reading these titles of these chapters. Okay, chapter 52. I'm gonna reread chapter 52, and that's on page 638 for those who may ask for the electronic version, page 638, chapter 52. The Lord and Lady and companions are welcome at the Essene village at the base of Mount Carmel, featuring the second sermon of the Magdalene on Essene Tantra, the meaning of the term Essene Tantra yoga, and experiencing ecstasy in sexual union. I did. I skipped ahead. I'm like, anything, let me read about it. What? I'm nosy. Chapter 53. What can we try now? Look, I'm all about testing. I'm all about testing stuff. My husband like, read it again, babe. What is it? Chapter 53. A sermon of Yeshua at the temple yurt, YURT, atop Holy Mount Carmel, the origins of the seraphim and artificials with teachings on dragons. That's kind of interesting. Chapter 54, a sermon by Yeshua at the Nazarene settlement of Mount Carmel, sermon on swords and universal tantra. It ain't talking about menage a trois, just to let you know. Okay. Chapter 55, the Magdalene teaches at Mount Carmel on enchanted gardens, herbal cleansing, and fasting, right? And this, I really like this. I get more understanding from this fast and stuff, like things that I was already working on and trying to understand. I jumped right to it, right? I broke my own rule, read from the beginning all the way through. But when I got it, I was like, let me check out some stuff. Fasting, they talk about fasting. They talk about sex, but I jumped right to that stuff. Chapter 55. The Magdalene teaches at Mount Carmel on enchanted gardens, herbal cleansing, and fasting. Chapter 56. Merkakath, Mirqachath, Makarkath, herbal body care products, including massage oils, aromatherapy, scents and methods, tinctures, beauty and therapeutic treatments, and related topics with a description of the Essene medicine bag. Chapter 57, Magdalene describes an anointing ritual of the 7 chakras that can be performed in bed or before sleep or upon awakening in the morning. Chapter 58, a talk by Yeshua at Mount Carmel, Yeshua's description of his own diet and sermon on Ha Yesod, HA space YESOD. Chapter 59, the voyage of the companions from Mount Carmel to Alexandria, Egypt, featuring the third sermon of the Magdalene on Essene Tantra in praise of divine Tantra and the holy creative Trinity. Chapter 60, the Lord and Lady and their companions are received at the Mother Temple in the wilderness above Lake Merotis, Egypt, featuring the fourth sermon by the Magdalene on Essene Tantra. Sis ain't letting this Tantra topic go, which is why they took the women portion out. Like, yeah, no, they don't need to know none of that. Keep us in control, men. We run this. Ladies, y'all need to read this. Listen, teach the men something. No, I'm just saying. Listen, look, Kendrick. Okay, look, chapter 61, a sermon by Yeshua on Essene yoga given at the Nazarene Mother Temple in Alexandria. Chapter 62, a sermon by Yeshua at the Nazarene Mother Temple in Alexandria, teachings on the symbols for contemplation and the concepts for contemplation related to the root forces and branch forces of the Essene tree of life. Chapter 63, the first of the scrolls read aloud to the congregation by Nibiya, Sophia, and Shalva, axioms of the golden dragon, first recorded by Herman the wizard upon the emerald tablet, being the words of Abraham the Abram, high priest of the seventh heaven of this solar system, recorded on the dragon-fired clay. Recorded on the dragon-fired clay, adorned with a green emerald within a golden heart at the time of his appearance to Herman in the form of a golden dragon. Chapter 64. The second of the scrolls read aloud to the congregation by Nibia, Sophia, and Shalva, a prophecy and 7 conjurations of the 7 dragons, Sarah, for Nazarene white wizards to serve as an example of what sort of magic white wizards conjure. Scroll 2 of the Nazarene Emerald Tablet Scrolls, right? Chapter 65. The third, now, listen, when it talks about the name is the Holy Megillah, the Nazarene Bible of the Essene Way. You ain't gonna be able to find it nowhere except for one place, unless somebody got a updated website where they selling 1 or 2, right? You got to actually write them to get this now. It used to be sold on Amazon a while ago, but they removed it from there, and now their website is down, and they removed their YouTube channel, right? So I'm reaching out to them to see if if they got a new process of getting them out to people, or if they're still selling them at all, and if not, what's the next steps. But there is another outlet, but they're in court and stuff, because they're what they're alluding to is that this, I ain't gonna say it was stolen, wasn't really stolen. He legit got the manuscript, the scrolls, from somebody, excuse me, who had access to them, and he was just trained in his life to where he was able to translate it. Show it again. Y'all want to screenshot it? Go ahead. And I'll take a picture of it, y'all. I'll take a picture of it, and I'll post it. That's for Facebook. I'll take a picture of it. That way, if you don't have a clear screenshot or whatever, without my fingernails and stuff and all this in the background, I'll screenshot it. And what I'll probably do too, I'll screenshot the table of contents. It'll probably have to be 2 posts, but it's just a table of contents. I'm not going to show anything else. But email me. That's all I'm gonna say. Email me. Okay. My email you can find on the about portion of YouTube, and same place on Facebook, or it's Pamela at Awaken to Truth Ministry. Remember, ministry is spelled not with a Y, but ministry at the end, RE.com. Pamela, I'll post it. I'll do a post and I'll put it up there. That way, if you don't know what to look for, that I'm gonna just get it to you. All right. Chapter 53. A sermon of Yeshua at the temple yurt atop Holy Mount Carmel. The origins of the seraphim and artificials with teachings on dragons. Chapter 54. And y'all probably like, dragons, real dragons? You got to get it to see what it's talking about. Chapter 54. A sermon by Yeshua at the Nazarene settlement of Mount Carmel. Sermon on swords and universal tantrum. Hold on. I went all the way back up. I'm sorry. No, go over to this other page. Who was that? I'm sorry. Chapter 65. Yeah, chapter 65. The third of the scrolls read aloud to the congregation by Nibia, Sophia, and Shalva. Teachings of Phoenix, Thoth of Madheba, and Meta Mathematics. Scroll 3 of the Nazarene Emerald Tablet Scrolls. I'm almost done, babe. I'm just reading on these table of contents. Chapter 66, the 4th Nazarene Emerald Tablet Scroll, the Golden Precepts of Herman, with commentary by Thoth, including as a preamble the greeting of Wizardess Gilga to the region called Egypt. Chapter 67, the consecration of Nibia as Yara by Rose. Chapter 68, the words of blessing by Nibia on the companions. Chapter 69, Nibia tells Yeshua about a Nazarene settlement that has announced that John the Baptizer is the Messiah also, including Mirdan's prophecy to the Nazarene of John the Baptizer and a note from Gibeah. Yeah, I know. I'm almost done. So I'm just reading this table of contents. Chapter 70. 2 green magic affirmations given by Miriam near Lake Merotis. Chapter 71. An interaction between Yeshua and an Alexandrian Aramite Jew on the steps to the entrance of the great library of Alexandria. And this is the last page with the table of contents, y'all. Chapter 72, Yeshua answers the question of a Nazarene man in Alexandria regarding degrees of nonviolence. Chapter 73, Yeshua's sermon to the Nazarene ascetics of Alexandria, including 7 precepts of the new house of Eden of the Lord Christ and Lady Christ. Chapter 74, the Lord and Lady and their companions meet John the Baptizer and his students at En Gedi, featuring sermon on the cliffs above En Gedi. Chapter 75, the night before the launching of the Masonic mission to Israel, featuring a short sermon by Yeshua entitled Ha Azinu, Give Ear. Chapter 76, the Lord and Lady and their 30 travel companions prepare to visit Bethany, featuring 28 questions from the companions to Yeshua and Miriam. Chapter 77, the Lord and Lady and their companions visit Bethany, featuring a prototype evangelical sermon titled Sermon to Sincere Spiritual Seekers of Bethany. Chapter 78, the day after the sermon to sincere spiritual seekers of Bethany, Nathanael questions Yeshua about sensing the auras of others, right? Being able to sense the auras, the presence of other people. They talk about all this stuff where Christians like, nope, that's of the devil, all this, but some of this he's seeing documents and stuff show that all of this was not fragmented back in the day when they were teaching people, as people were learning, as they were growing spiritually. Chakras, auras, all of this stuff together, magic, all this stuff. They show it's like a perfect balance of everything. And it wasn't like what we see in movies, like, Wicked Witches of the West and doing all that's Hollywood. And sometimes, although they have some movies with good spiritual lessons, they got some that are way out there to kind of keep you off in La La Land. So that's where discernment comes in at. Okay. That's chapter 78. The day after the sermon to sincere spiritual seekers of Bethany, Nathanael questions Yeshua about sensing the auras of others. Chapter 79, Miriam speaks outside a slaughterhouse in Bethany. So that whole thing, like in you're welcome, Tabitha. What you read in in like the New Testament after Jesus supposedly rose from the dead, right? How when the guys was out fishing, he's like, come on in, brother, or whatever, got a meal made for you. And they came back and it was bread and fish cooking, right? True walkers with the Creator would not tell you to eat meat, because this is something that this talks about really extensively, about not murdering man nor beast, right? I probably wouldn't been able to take this maybe 2 years ago, but now that I've got really acquainted with Oahspe and the Creator and his love and how he requires no sacrifice of anything, and it's actually an abomination to slaughter beasts, especially for the sake of your belly or humans, Oahspe makes a whole lot more sense. This makes a lot of sense. And this is what they talk about. They say, you do not destroy the animals, you don't eat them. Like, animals are not food, they are our friends, right? Listen, chapter 79, Miriam speaks outside a slaughterhouse in Bethany. Chapter 80, the outreach ministry of the Lord and Lady and their companions to the people of Bethlehem, featuring an account of a miracle of sharing. And this it talks about some of the miracles that I'm just we got a couple more to read and we'll be done. It talks about some of the miracles to where when you read in the New Testament, it gives details on some of the other things, like some things that would seem like miracles to other people who really don't understand like scientific principles and how things can be done. Because that's one of the things the Father requires of all of us, is that we learn about this atmosphere, how to manipulate the elements. It's a part of our education. this kind of brings light to a lot of that stuff as well. Like, and we see a lot of it in Oahspe, you know, not manipulate in that way, but learn how to no, it is called manipulate the elements, but not manipulate like take advantage of, but no. What's another word for manipulate then? Learn how to.
You're not using then. Don't use that term.
No, it actually uses manipulate the elements. But let's look up the definition manipulate. I think it's two definitions. Hold on. I'm gonna give y'all the right definition for manipulate. Hold on. I want to make sure y'all. But that's good. You said that. Hold on. Manipulate, not hold on. Manipulate. Okay. Manipulate to handle or control a tool or mechanism, etc., typically in a skillful manner. He manipulated the dials of the set. Now the second definition is what most people think about when you think about manipulate, and that's to control or influence a person or situation cleverly or unfairly or unscrupulously. Right. The masses were deceived and manipulated by a tiny group. That's not what I'm saying when I say manipulate. It's to handle or control in a skillful manner. Yeah. But I'm glad you mentioned that, babe.
No, you try to control me, but I tell you, I'm not manipulative.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we got like three more. Okay. Chapter 81. The Lord and Lady minister outside of Jerusalem, featuring a solar meditation experience, esoteric teachings, and a song written by Yeshua and Miriam. Chapter 82, which is the last chapter, the Lord and Lady and their companions visit a public market featuring various conversations and spiritual teachings, right? So this is really good from what, like I said, I haven't read it all the way through and I have not read all the chapters, but some of the stuff that I've learned and been looking for and looked up, this brings a lot of clarity, just like Oahspe has, right? So this, I'm gonna put this back inside of here. And something, if you don't mind, real quick, let me read them what the elders at Kenya said real quick, baby. I'm gonna end this. All right, so now that y'all got that, so y'all can get a copy of it if you want it. And I give y'all the updates on what I found out. Okay, so at the beginning of this, and you would have had to have got all of this before they came after them to make them take this down. But at the beginning of it, when you go, it tell you that this is under investigation, right? And it said this secret scroll, and they call this the secret Nazarite scroll, and a bunch of people, big group of people, was coming together while one particular person was actually reading through it, and it had some private readings of it so people could hear it because people couldn't get a copy of it, right? Okay, it says this secret scroll is being investigated by the African Diaspora's Ambassador Office in America for the Holy Mountain in Kenya. Investigation began on December 21st, 2020. We have confirmed ancient manuscripts were indeed translated to produce these teachings, and we even confirmed that numerous teachings in this scroll, talking about this, what they call the Holy Megillah, right? This, the guy who actually translated the Holy Scrolls, they verified it because they got a copy of it, and they're going through the Holy Scrolls like, how did he get a copy of it, right? Okay. We have confirmed ancient manuscripts were indeed translated to produce these teachings, and we even confirmed that numerous teachings in this scroll are more authentic than all the mainstream narratives about Adam, Eve, Abraham, Noah, Sarah, Moses, Yeshua, etc. And we do advise, okay, so the person who's writing this, they pro-Black, right? So no disrespect to anybody who's of another ethnicity, race. Everybody should be have a copy, right? I should understand these principles. We do advise all Black people to read this scroll while we work on delivering the original scroll. Protected at the Holy Mountain, and that's in Kenya, right? They have a whole process before they release these scrolls as they translate them to the people. They want to keep it as authentic as possible. It says, however, we receive evidence that the translation team compiled this body of work from various ancient manuscripts that were not intended by the original authors to be combined together and presented to humanity as one single body of work, right? So, like, we can clearly see that in the table of contents, right? Some of these other scrolls, they were never meant to be combined, like what he's saying, but they did. They put it all together and they put it in this. Hold on. However, we receive evidence that the translation team compiled this body of work from various ancient manuscripts that were not intended by the original authors to be combined together and presented to humanity as one single body of work. Some of the manuscripts used for this were authored by African high priests who had 360-degree secret wisdom. Other manuscripts obviously come from East Asian Indian wisdom traditions, which are not 360-degree level, but still help to increase peace and love. As a result, not all teachings reflect the consistency of secret knowledge from 360-degree high priests of Africa, but various teachings in this scroll do reflect that. Regardless, don't let that deter you from gaining the valuable insight contained in this body of work for your journey. There are pricelessly relevant lessons in this scroll that pertain to the COVID era we are living in now, and everyone should know what this scroll says about what's happening. Lastly, another reason not to worry is because the original Kabiru or Hebrew scroll is protected at the Holy Mountain in Kenya in the Ark of the Covenant. And part of the great investigation will be to compare this secret Nazarite scroll with the original scroll at the Holy Mountain from inside the Ark of the Covenant. The chief seer of Mount Kenya has given the green light for the original scroll to be declassified and taught to the world. Obtain the full investigation report, and it has some links there. And then it says, I'm going to read this next page, and that'll be it, where it says, attention. Attention. Attention, this secret scroll is being leaked digitally, right? Because they saw what they put in here, the ISBN for the number. Okay, give me a second. Let me read this and I'm gonna get it to you. So if y'all can find it other places, let me know, because I'm gonna let people know. But remember, the one that you find that Jewish outlets put out is different from this. Not saying you shouldn't get that. Get it, read through it, decipher the information, but that is not this, is what I'm saying. Okay, this secret scroll is being leaked digitally by the African Diaspora's American Office for the Holy Mountain in Kenya to expedite delivery of this scroll's teachings to humanity using lawful emergency powers from the African priesthood through the Naka star in the Carina constellation activated by the fifth seal of Enoch, herein being fulfilled with the current COVID-19 vaccinations containing nanotechnology forced on the world and the increasing threat of the prophesied I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me reread the sentence again. Hold on. That was all just one sentence. Okay. This secret scroll is being leaked digitally by the African Diaspora's American Office for the Holy Mountain in Kenya to expedite delivery of this scroll's teachings to humanity using lawful emergency powers from the African priesthood through the Naka, N-A-K-A, Naka star of the Carina constellation activated by the fifth seal of Enoch, herein being fulfilled with the current COVID-19 vaccinations containing nanotechnology forced on the world and the increasing threat of the prophesied Luciferian project known in our generation as, quote, human 2.0, end quote. It gives a link for that. I'll share that with y'all in a minute. I'm gonna have to do this afterward. I gotta see if it still works. Okay. Inching close, hold on. And the increasing threat of the prophesied Luciferian project known in our generation as Human 2.0, inching closer to society's detriment. As people of God, we have a responsibility to reject and protect all, We have a responsibility to reject and protest all works of Luciferian institutions and spread the light of truth during the world's darkest hours by any means necessary. And that's the end of it. And it goes on to give his title. Okay. And it says, before, and it says stop. And it's like the last thing, right? Stop. Before you read the secret scroll of the Nazarites, make sure you're acquainted with the hierarchy of secret African knowledge. And it lists fours, and one is 49,000 truths or degrees. And it says highest possible, temporarily suspended for modern humans. Number two is 360-degree truths or degrees, temporarily the highest available for modern Black people. Number three is 36 truths or degrees, highest available for non-Black people. And number four, 33 truths or degrees, entry level for non-Black people. Now, I still don't understand the Black, white, or why that even matters. I don't know yet, right? I'm still going through this stuff and why there's the, you know, it says the people who would best decode and receive the unwritten words of this scroll are those who have been exposed to 360-degree level teachings, such as the critical teachings found in the Black Root Science, which highlights the roots of Black people and our tribal perspectives of high science. Oh, okay, I guess I kind of get it. We advise people of African descent to read the Black Root Science before reading this scroll, available free on thegreatinvestigation.com. Oh, you can get the Black Root Science, but you can also get that from Amazon. I got it from Amazon, and you can listen to it because both books are recorded. And I've actually read that. So I get what it's saying based on how they educate people in their system of education and science, how it kind of like falls in line with that. So don't have me screwed it up. But I think I kind of understand it when it was talking about Black people based, it says, which highlights the roots of Black people and all tribal perspectives of high science. So I guess what they're giving it from the perspective of the science they learn in their culture and stuff, right? Okay, I don't want to screw it up. Don't quote me on that. And so that next page is right here, right? And it has the Holy Megillah, Nazarene Bible of the Essene Way. And I noticed I got the hardback copy, but I seen a couple printed versions, and this is actually the paperback copy. And it looks like that. It used to, like I said, it used to be available on Amazon, so I've seen that. And then it just kind of goes into everything right there, right? So yeah, in the table of contents, and I just read the table of contents, all that stuff. So thank y'all for hanging out. And for those who had been looking for it, because I had people, they responded on some of the videos when I mentioned this, and I have Holy Megillah in the title. They was like, I've been looking for this, and I was getting the dings from it. I'm like, well, wait, let me look into it. And sure enough, they done killed the YouTube page and pulled the site down. And I'll let y'all know if it's if you can still get it, if they are still printing it, sending it out, whatever, and how much, if they raise the price. The price when I got it, it was $100. So I'm not sure. Like I said, I give you all the details when I figure it out, when I find it out. But if it's like, look, I want it right now, let me know in my studies. I'm just gonna say, email me. Right? Read between the lines, people. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You're welcome. You're welcome. Kizzy, you're welcome. I know it's a lot of look. I didn't realize it was that many chapter titles. Look, that was a whole reading session in itself, just going through the chapter titles. But I enjoy doing it, right? So let me go ahead and get out of here and fix my hubby something to eat. All right. So with that being said, give me a few minutes. Email me, y'all. I'm a post to listen, seriously. Email me, y'all. Everybody that's here today. Send me an email so I have y'all email and I'm going to respond to y'all. Okay. Read between the lines, people. All right. You can't hear me? Oh, let me type it. Let me type it. Hold on. All right. You're welcome. All right, y'all. I love y'all. I see y'all back here. Oh, I'm sorry. The ISBN number. I'm sorry. Hold on. Uh-oh. Hold on. That's interesting. You know what? Nobody ever asked me that. It's normally in here. I don't see it. If anybody, I'm not sure. I'm gonna post the email address because I don't want to screw up my own email address. Hold on, wait, hold on. I'm about to put it in. Hold on. Let me just get it to y'all now. I'm gonna post it in here. I don't see the ISBN number in here, y'all. Hold on. Let me give y'all this. Hold on. Make sure I. Email. Okay. Let's see if this is it on the outside binder. I'll look. Hold on, let me look again. Nope. Nothing. Outside ain't nothing. It didn't. Nope. I don't see it in here, y'all. It didn't copy and paste. Okay, so let me just type this real quick. All right, here's my email, y'all. And let me get out of here. I should know this by heart, right? But I don't really. I made it all super hard for me to remember how to spell it. N-E-S-T-R-E. Yeah, that's right. Pamela at awakentoTruthMinistry.com. It could be on Amazon, Jamil. It could be. If it is, I'll put it in the comment section. Comment. I'll put it in the comment section. And I'll put it in the community section when I make the post. Okay. Okay. So that's the email address. Okay. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I've been trying to get some of the insight on it and trying to, I'm like real nosy, but I couldn't. Well, there is like the case number is, matter of fact, I think you can go on Prince Michael. He got the case number and everything. I just forget exactly where. But I'm gonna check in on it, see where it's at, But all right, y'all. We'll see. Check my email. Okay, I got you. And you know what? You sent me a couple emails. Like I'm like behind time. I'm still catching up. I'm not ignoring you, Oahspe College University. I just got to get in there and get through all my stuff. All right, but if y'all send it, I promise y'all. If y'all email me today, I'm gonna be checking it over the next couple days over the weekend. And after I get everything done cooking, I'll respond to y'all email. Right, that y'all gonna send me today. Right, y'all gonna email me today, like right now or something. Email me today, and I'm gonna respond to you. Right. All right. It's for educational purposes only. All right. That's all I'm going to say. All right. I love y'all. And I'll see y'all back here tomorrow morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. All right, y'all. Bella. She sleep? Oh, she gonna be mad with me. She said, I was taking too long. You did already? Okay. Give me a few minutes. I'm gonna respond to y'all. Okay. All right. I love y'all. It's 5 a.m. for you. You's a soldier, sis. You a soldier. Yeah. I'm gonna do it 6:15. I'm gonna do it 6:15. Right? I'm gonna do it 6:15 tomorrow. Cause I still gotta, I don't know. I'm gonna just leave it at 6:15 tomorrow. I was gonna say I let y'all choose, but I think I need to leave it at 6:15 tomorrow still, even though I got the day off. I think I still need to leave it at 6:15. So I'll see y'all 6:15 tomorrow morning, bright and early. Love y'all. Peace.